It is 6 a.m. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios, and happy Friday. I'm Justin Hawkins. Tennessee Titans are back at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park this morning for an unplanned padded practice, and will get started at 9:15. Head coach Brian Callahan will speak to the media ahead of practice at 8:55, and you can hear his presser right here on the show. The Los Angeles Chargers and Detroit Lions kicked off the NFL preseason last night in the Hall of Fame game as the Chargers roll over the Lions 34-7. Chargers quarterback Trey Lance played the first three quarters and threw for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lions quarterbacks Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker struggled as they combined for 104 yards passing and 3 interceptions. In other NFL news, Washington Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin has requested a trade. This comes on the heels of stalled contract negotiations and his hold-in. The two-time Pro Bowler is entering the final year of his 3-year deal, in which he is set to make $15.5 million this season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome to August. Welcome to football. We have football to react to. We have Titans practice to watch as we broadcast live from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Glad to be here. I'm Lucas Panzica, filling in for Will Bowling this morning. Next to the man, Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins back in studio, Kirby Allen Kirby, Joseph Bonanno. Got the whole crew out here at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park for the calm before the storm.
It is, man. Dude, you're so natural at opening up shows and hosting. You had your whole read, man, ready to go. Lucas,
Stop.
Did you take another melatonin?
Keep going. I took 2 last night.
You did?
And Moan, let me tell you about crazy dreams. I had some crazy dreams.
I can't imagine. Is it like rainbow swirls or like Bigfoot in your dreams? Like, which one is it?
Let me just, we got a lot of football to talk about. Let me give you the tiniest bite-sized sample.
Just a little bit.
So this dream had like 6 chapters in it, and one of the chapters was me and my fiance Megan were taking a stroll, and for whatever reason we were on a beach and we saw a big house, and we walked into this house. I don't know why. And Moan, this is the weirdest thing.
I'm listening. The
most random actor of all time. We somehow recognized, oh, this is Zac Efron's house, the actor. And I said, oh, that's cool. I went to elementary school with Zac. I know him. We're boys. And I ran into him, and he was like, what's up, guys? Y'all want to hang out at this party tonight? We're like, yeah, sure. We'll hang out. And they had, Zac and all his friends had this machine.
Oh, your friends?
Yeah, I guess my friends, mutual friends of Zac Efron and I. And they had this machine that was shooting down monsters out of the sky. And they were like, you guys want to hang out? We'll watch. And these monsters were, did you ever see the Quiet Place?
Yes.
It was those kind of monsters.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That, like, they can't see, but they can hear you. And they were like, apparently there was this attack that we knew was coming, but they had this machine. We were all going to hang out, have some drinks, and watch them get shot down out of the sky. And then immediately the machine didn't work. And the monsters dropped down and started killing people.
Of course.
And so me and Megan are like, we got to go. And we started running. And then I'll tell you the rest in the break from there. Because then we would be here for a while. Yeah. So no more melatonin for me for a while.
We just talked about this, Lucas. Hey, gosh, man. Well, look, welcome to reality, Lucas. This is what I would tell you.
I was glad to wake up.
Yeah.
I was glad to wake up. Glad to wake up to be here. And I did not dream this. Trey Lance balled out last night.
Yes, he did.
Got the start for the Chargers. Hendon Hooker got the second half for the Detroit Lions.
He did.
And it was Kyle Allen who got the start. But we have to lead with Trey Lance in the Hall of Fame game. 13 of 20, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was crisp. He was efficient. He was on time. DJU barely even got snaps because of how Trey Lance was balling. Jim Harbaugh let him ride.
He did let him ride, man. And that's good for Trey Lance, man. We spoke about him yesterday. It was like nobody in America probably knew that Trey Lance was on the San Diego Chargers, LA Chargers, until we discussed that Justin Herbert wasn't going to start in the game. All I was thinking to myself is like, dang, not that I feel bad for Trey Lance. He got a crazy, I'm sure, signing bonus when he came out and was the projected franchise quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. But I do legitimately say this guy's 25 years old. I'm looking at his birthday right now. He'll be 26 next year. Maturity, Lucas, matters in the NFL. The growth of guys matters in the NFL. And he's a guy that was put in a position, man, coming out during that COVID year from a smaller school that probably didn't have that one-on-one that you needed him to, on top of injuries that happen from time to time, too. We love in sports the redemption story. If this spins itself into something more for Trey Lance, man, I don't think anybody be mad at the idea that he bust out in San Francisco. He was crisp. His play was very assertive, man, and he looked like a NFL quarterback. I know it was, partially ones, partially twos and stuff like that he was going against. But, Lucas, you can't help your competition sometimes. You run up, you get done up in this world, and he absolutely diced, I felt like, the Detroit Lions, who have a very hard-hitting and, the reputation of being a good defense also as of late.
DJ Uiagalelei, the only other quarterback not named Justin Herbert on that roster. So Trey Lance is this team's backup quarterback.
Yes.
But you're right, it was impressive. It's a far cry from 5 interceptions in a preseason game that we saw with Dallas last year. So it's the best version of Trey Lance I feel like we've seen, understanding, like you said, the context of the game, which, by the way, the preseason right off the bat, when Dan Campbell's throwing a linebacker out there to return kicks and he fumbles the opening kickoff, I was like, all right, here we go. How many penalties did this game end up racking up? I can't find the penalties in the box score.
I got you real quick, Lucas. Penalties, it was 7, though. First down.
3 for L.A., 8 for Detroit. 8 for 68 for Detroit. It felt a lot worse than that. Maybe the first half was a little more penalty heavy than the second half. Titans legends all over the place. Caleb Murphy, former Ferris State pass rusher.
Yes,
remember him? Kind of helped on that forced fumble in the beginning of the game. Des Fitzpatrick out there. You had Hassan Haskins getting carries.
Hassan, I heard his name. I was like, Hassan. I was like, I know him. But yes, he's playing for his old college coach also. And then there was a tackle, too. Golly, who was the tackle that was in the game? Nobody remembers the tackles. But he ended up having a penalty, and all I was saying to myself, yep, well, that's a right tackle at that, too, Lucas. But all in all, I thought it was a really good game. I see why everybody's getting hype over the young running back out of North Carolina, Amarian Hampton. Just on the little couple of runs that he had, I said, yep, Buck. I heard him yesterday speaking about he wanted to place a bet on the idea of him being Rookie of the Year instead of Cam or Travis Hunter. And watching him and watching how we know that offense is going to play in L.A. with the Chargers, they're going to run the doggone football. They're going to be very, very physical. I thought yesterday you had 2 of the most physical coaches that you could have ever put in camp early. I know their players are miserable, Lucas. Dan Campbell and doggone Jim Harbaugh as your coaches in training camp for an extra 2 weeks. Lucas, you thought your dream with the melatonin was hell. That's hell right there, okay?
No doubt.
Knowing those dudes, absolutely, man.
Yeah, quite the coaching matchup last night. And then that brings us to Hendon Hooker. Unfortunately for both of us, Tennessee alums, I think we would have loved to open the show.
How'd you know I went to Tennessee?
Talking about Hendon's performance. You're rocking it today out here at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. That Tennessee Orange. 3 of 6, 18 yards, and 1 interception. Now, Callahan made some mistakes in the first half. They kept him out there, and they kept him into the beginning of the second half. To you, does that signal that Kyle Allen or Hendon Hooker has a ways to go to get to that QB2 spot in Detroit?
No, I think it's just the plan that they have for Kyle and also Hendon, too. It looked to me when I saw Kyle still in the second quarter, it's like, oh, well, this is his half. They're probably going to flip-flop halves as it pertains to how they're going to make those guys compete against one another. I thought Kyle Allen hurt himself a little bit more last night with the passes that he threw. Like, he threw interceptions. These weren't tips or anything like that. I didn't think his flow of the game was that good. And when you look at the idea of it being him versus Hendon will probably get the first stab at it next time. Or maybe Hendon's getting more reps in practice. If they were looking at Kyle Allen to be their backup quarterback, last night wasn't a good show. They got to open up the door for a little bit more for a guy like Hendon Hooker to be really in the competition as it pertains to the live open reps, Lucas. So not a whole lot to pull from that one, to be quite honest with you, to say Hendon's not the guy in that situation. I just think it was a situation where a guy like Kyle Allen needs and has to show himself because he's a little bit older than Hendon, too, as when we talk about him being in the league.
Either way, you wish for Hooker's sake that he had been able to just stake claim to that spot upon entering the NFL, understanding he was coming off the ACL when he got drafted. But clearly still work to do in this camp battle between he and Kyle Allen, and we'll see what happens. But we had football on TV last night. I mean, you kind of you're riding that high of seeing Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth do the open, and then, I mean, the opening kickoff, fumble, review, and then the penalty start.
We were live, man.
Doesn't matter.
Amazing. I feel like everybody last night, Lucas, I was fighting. I was actually fighting the stereotype last night, too, as we were watching, because I watched the entire first half.
Oh, yeah?
I did. And I was saying to myself, if you sit here and you watch this second half, something's truly wrong with you. And I wanted to see a good bit of Hendon, and I did see just a little bit, but I couldn't commit to the entirety of the game like our good friend Brent Hubs said he was going to yesterday, man. Because to your point, we watch because of name recognition. We watch because of the quality. It's better than I feel like other football leagues that we watch in the world, too. But that first half I thought was good. Some hard hitting that was going on, too. Entertaining. For it to be a Hall of Fame game where I know guys really pack it in, the young guys really got after it yesterday, man, and it was refreshing to have it back last night, Lucas.
It's rare to get a Hall of Fame game with a quality quarterback performance from a name we all know, right?
Yeah,
like we talked about yesterday. You're used to Nate Sudfeld and I don't know, ex-practice squad quarterback here taking most of those reps. And we
Nathan
got
Peterman.
Nathan Peterman. Yep, good shout by Jayhawk. And so we got a good performance from Trey Lance, and it was enjoyable.
Back to the Trey Lance, and I'm glad you brought him back up, too. We spoke about this yesterday a little bit, too, Lucas. There will be an era where you speak about guys like Will Levis, Baker Mayfield, the Baker Mayfields of the world, where you're saying to yourself, this may be the NIL version of we took too many quarterbacks early in the draft, and we'll let them fail at a place, grow up somewhere else. And we saw, again, in a small sample size, like Trey Lance probably has some GMs or some scouts inside of another 30 NFL rooms saying, we'll kick the tires on him. If this doesn't work out with our quarterback or the backup, he's going to be moving forward, in my opinion, the new Chase Daniel, where he's probably get a backup that's making $8 to $10 million a year just based off of how he looked last night. He sat in the pocket, and Collinsworth and Tirico was speaking about it too. You know he can run, but watching him adjust, like there was one time he was under pressure and you saw him about to cave and run. He sat down, and then he navigated the pocket, let his protection be around him, and then he ended up rolling out to the sideline to simply throw the ball away, and he didn't get an intentional grounding in the pocket. He was smart about how he utilized his legs, and that is also one of them situations where he, as a pro now, mature, understanding not every meal is a feast, he decided to just throw the ball out and not take the hit, not try to get the yards or anything else. Like, that's why I feel like what Sam Darnold has done, what a bunch of these retread quarterbacks are hoping to do, Kenny Pickett, right, are trying to become the transfer portal of what NFL quarterbacks are right now. I'm not trying to make that a thing, but that's what's happening right now. These guys are getting second stabs at it and are probably going to push some young guys down the pecking order when it comes to them getting another shot.
Yeah, especially those first-round guys like Trey Lance.
Them, yeah.
Yeah, and then when Chris Collinsworth reminded us that he's younger than Michael Penix, he's younger than Tyler Shuck, the rookie in New Orleans. Man, and I know both of those.
Is he younger than Will Levis, too? If I'm not mistaken?
Lance is 25 years old.
25.
He very well could be. And I know Penix and Shuck and Levis, yeah, he is. Levis is 26. Levis turned 26 this summer.
Hendon is the same age as him, right? As Trey Lance.
Yeah, Hendon was an older prospect coming out too, but still, for a guy like Trey Lance drafted in 2021 to still be on that track, Hendon's 27.
You're kicking the tires on Trey Lance. That's the way I view him moving forward right now. I'm kicking the tires on him, especially if he shows that level of maturity in the game that he did last night.
Great Hall of Fame class, too. That was celebrated yesterday. Just legend after legend being paraded onto the NBC broadcast. Talk about some of those guys later on in the show as well. But we're out here at the Titans facility because we learned about 48 hours ago that there's going to be another practice on Wednesday. We're going to get a chance to see Cam Ward and this football team take the field once again this week. And we'll talk about what we want to see from Cam this morning coming up next on 104.5 The Zone.
Is your concrete in need of repair? Maybe your sidewalk is shifting, your driveway is cracked and sinking on you, or your porch steps, maybe they've moved on you. Shifting concrete can create a dangerous situation, just trip hazard around your home. It's also a big eyesore. It's Ramon Foster, and whatever is going on with your concrete, call United Structural Systems. Ask them about their polyurethane foam injections. You've heard about USS for a long time. It's the same company that's provided superior foundation repair and waterproofing to Middle Tennessee since 1994. Well, they can fix your sunken or settling concrete. USS uses polyurethane foam injections to lift and repair sinking concrete in a matter of minutes. Lifted concrete can be walked on immediately or even driven on after about 30 minutes. So don't go through that long, expensive process of ripping out and replacing concrete. Reach out to the company that I trust, man. You can go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com, or call them at 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Titans will be on the practice field out here at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. We'll catch the beginning of practice in the final hour of the show. Brian Callahan is set to meet with the media at 8:55. You can hear that live right here. We'll react to it with Ron Slay, who will be in the building.
Yeah.
And then practice with Cam Ward, looking for yet another step forward. And what a day to do it. As a player, you got to walk out here after what the last week or so has been and just take a deep breath. Just, oh, thank God.
Man, seriously, it's almost like Disney in L.A., man. This is Disney World, not Disneyland. No, Disneyland, not Disney World. You know, there's a difference in that Cali version and that Orlando version. This is the Cali version this morning. It ain't as hot, boy. Golly.
That's Ramon Foster, the 11-year NFL vet, the Vol Network analyst. I'm Lucas Panzica stepping in for Will. We are, of course, fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Jayhawk is making it happen back at the station. Joseph Bonanno and Kirby Allen Kirby are out here with us at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. So before we get to Cam and what we want to see from him today, I am curious. Again, we learned about this 2 days ago. Yeah. Hey, new practice has been added. Media will be out there. When that happens, is that typically because a coaching staff didn't like what they saw earlier in the week, that they want to get extra work in on one particular thing? Can it be a variety of things? For you guys, if there was an unplanned practice with Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, what did that usually mean?
Man, it's a lot of different things that came through my mind. I think I got the real answer. I'll say it in a minute, but I'm thinking, is it because they want to see something here at home they don't want to show on the road? Is that something that they're trying to do as far as the practice goes? Is it because this is going to be a cooler day and they feel like they're going to get quality work by working here in Tennessee instead of going down to Tampa, and it's going to be blazing hell with the heat down there too, and you know it's going to be miserable on top of guys, you know, with the attitudes that you got to deal with? Do you feel better about the quality of work? And do you want to see Cam bounce back in a practice the way he's probably not going to have the opportunity going against a defense he doesn't know? I personally think, because I got a couple friends around the league, that some teams with these joint practices may only be doing 1 day of pads against each other.
Yeah, which is what the Titans and Bucs are doing next week.
Only 1 day?
1 day, and then it's a walkthrough Friday before the game.
That's the reason why, then, because you usually do those 2 days where you get the first day of physicality, the second day of physicality, then it's a walkthrough. The fact that they're only doing 1 day, I think they're probably added this practice today. They probably had the flexibility to say, we need one more padded practice before going down to Jacksonville. Because, again, that one padded practice, it could be chaotic. It could just be disruptive with everything that those joint practices do with guys. Yeah, fighting and just being a disruptor. And then the quality of it, you can control it here in your own setting. That's what I had also heard that other teams were doing too. They're only doing this one practice, joint practice, that they're doing against each other. So that's the reason why I think they added this one. Coaches love physicality. There's no way they're ever going to give back a padded practice. And also considering the rules, too, during the season, Lucas, you only get one a week. So coaches that I know, they dive in as much as they possibly can, build you up and make you be physical in training camp. You're going to get those days. They'll never lose a day of physicality.
615-737-1045 is how you jump in. Titans are going to try to bring it today with the physicality, and we will get to the phones in a moment. You can also chime in on the F&M Bank chat, 1045 The Zone TV, on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. So, what is the number one thing that you are looking for when you watch Cam Ward today in team drills? I'm talking 11 on 11.
2 things for me. The first one is his ability to take care of the ball over the middle. Can he get away from his kryptonite and Cody Barton? that to me, if that becomes a story, if that is a headliner again today, I think a lot of people are either going to start questioning what in the heck did Cody Barton do before he got to Tennessee, and why can't Cam Ward defeat him in practice from day to day right now? That being a part of it, Lucas, him across the middle and not having those tipped footballs, his trajectory of how he's going to let go of the ball, I think is most important too in these settings, because I mean, he's thrown a couple of picks, but they hadn't been flagrantly to the other person unless there's a mistake or it's coming out low and tipped against somebody. And the other part for me with Cam Ward is specifically in the 11-on-11 team stuff. At the end of practice, will he finish strong with this group? The ooze to a finish where I felt like the second day of pass we saw them in, Lucas, the offense jumped out hot. The running game was good. They were able to connect on footballs and stuff like that down the field. And then when they got to situational football in the red zone, turnover. And then I think it was a 3-and-out, had to kick a field goal too at that point in time. Can the offense finish practice as fast as they started? That is, and it's because of him right now, I'll say. That's what I want to see from him today in practice.
That game of cat and mouse between Cam Ward and Cody Barton. I mean, Barton's been the cat. Cam Ward has been the mouse so far in training camp. And he's a guy, Cody Barton's been a good player in this league.
Yeah, he's no slouch.
Yeah, 3-year, $21 million deal. Two of the last 3 years, 2 interceptions. I'll say 4 interceptions total in the last 3 years combined. Decent numbers for a linebacker, right? 100-plus tackler in the last 3 years. He gets sacks. He gets forced fumbles, fumble recoveries. He's a good player. He has looked like the best linebacker in football out here at training camp, the way he is baiting, the way he just has Cam Ward's number right now. So I'm with you on that. Also, the tip balls over the middle, Moan. That was something that on Wednesday suddenly started to pop up. I think there were 3 or 4, including the Barton one that got tipped up by Barton, intercepted by Roger McCreary.
To me, I don't want to cut you. I'm going to let you
go ahead.
Like, that's one of the things right there, Lucas, that we speak of now that I feel like can be something that happens during the season that we saw in training camp. I do, to your point, wonder, is there an adjustment to be made at that position when it comes down to what they will ask him to do if he has to move his feet and maneuver the pocket to not have those things happen as often? Because it's something that we do know, what I know as far as playing in this league, guys are smart. Guys will not, they'll say screw rushing you, and they'll get 15 PBUs a game at the line of scrimmage just because of those little things right there. I've seen guys tell, and I've seen our team meetings for game planning in Pittsburgh. It was one of them. They got a good offensive line. There's no need for us to rush them. Get your man, stone him, and get your hands up. We're going to bat balls this week. Like, that's something that you won't want, Lucas, to be a trend for him. And right now, would you call it an early trend?
I don't know. Maybe it has to happen for more than one practice for it to be a trend, but it was on Wednesday. And I mean, for you guys, what do you typically see when the end product is a quarterback getting balls tipped at the line of scrimmage? Is it typically a stature thing? Is it an arm angle thing? What is it typically, do you think, for NFL quarterbacks, and how might that apply to Cam Ward?
Just release. For the most part, guys will do that, or either those types of guys get a deeper drop in their pass pro. But what I will say is something I feel like we've been seeing, too. His guards and centers have been jumping guys at the line of scrimmage to start the fight to make sure that they don't try to get their hands up. But it's only so many times you can do that based upon the plays that are being called. If it's a 7-step drop, you jumping somebody at the line of scrimmage to stop them can be problematic for you if you get beat quickly, because you know the quarterback is holding on to the ball longer instead of a 3 or 5-step drop in those situations. So his guys up front have to be able to help that also by getting guys hands down. I would literally, Lucas, if I knew we had a quick drop back, I would get on my guy and I start slapping his hands down, because you're not going to jump up. I know I've stopped you. You know I've stopped you. Your only option at this point is for you to jump up and bat a football down. He's in a position, man, to where he's going to have to, Cam Ward, learn how to fill out that pocket, see down the field and over the line of scrimmage too. I'm not going to ask him to change his trajectory or how he throw the football. But what will happen, though, Lucas, is guys will start to plan on, even if it's 5 a game, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen that be a thing where guys just, they can't get the defender's hands down and they're tipping footballs. Or what we've seen a couple of times is the football get batted over the middle of the defense for an interception, or just tipped and hit to the ground. You don't get a complete play, basically, is what I'm saying. You do everything good. Wide receivers beat their guys around the outside or across the middle, and lo and behold, the ball is tipped. And all you can say is, dang. And it's no fault other than learning how to be a pro more and figuring out how to manipulate the pocket and his arm.
So we'll see if Ward can dial those back a little bit today at practice. Again, this is what we want, right? We want to see the mistakes in order to see how he responds. That'll be something we're fascinated with this morning. We want to hear what you are looking to hear about the quarterback if you are not going to be in attendance. I know fans will be out here at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park today. 615-737-1045. And this is how we're starting on a Friday. Levis Lover is up first to lead us off to talk Titans practice today.
Good morning. Good Freaky Friday, fellas. I was just going to give a 2 cents in here. When we first took Ward, I wasn't super excited. Obviously, my boy Levis, I think he had some potential. Obviously, we've been a walking meme ever since. But the more and more I say of Ward, I'm getting a little excited. I like how he's got a little bit of dog in him, and we need some culture and attitude change around the Titans arena, and everything like that. And I like how he pretty well called himself out, and also along with the offense the other day, calling them pretty mid. The reporters and everybody, I don't think they know how to take that. And whenever that was said, you could definitely tell that the feeling was awkward around there, kind of like when it's Thanksgiving and somebody's messing with the macaroni dish a little too long, and that awkward silence starts. But I think that we're going to be okay with the throwing across the middle and everything like that. I think it's just like y'all said, a trajectory throwing, kind of angles type of deal. I think in Miami, he had more space to kind of throw through lanes and stuff like that, and had a little bit more touch on it. I think he's got to be a little bit more purposeful, have a little bit more zip on it at times. But I think that everything's going to work out, and we're going to be all right.
No doubt about it.
Thanks for the call, Levis Lover.
New Cam Lover here.
Yeah, how about that? I got to change that name on the call screener.
How was that for you, real quick?
The awkward moment when someone's messing around with the macaroni dish too long. Like, is that somebody's overcooking the macaroni? Is that somebody's taking too long to put it on their plate? Like, what moment is he talking about there?
Probably somebody adding something to it where they probably shouldn't have. You know what I'm saying?
Raisins or something like that.
In the mac and cheese. But I was wondering, because you guys have a timer usually when you take calls, and I know Levis Lover had a little airtime right there. You okay?
I'm good. Yeah, the instinct was to start hearing the Oscars music, play them off, but no. I do not mind hearing what the people have to say.
We let it breathe. They had a point though too. The other side that I think Cam has to deal with, and I feel like Will and I spoke about it the other day. This offensive line is better that he has here in Tennessee than Levis had last year. I think we can say that earlier on. But I think what Cam has to recognize too is what he brought up. The defensive lines aren't college 18, 19-year-olds, heck, 20-year-olds. These guys are pros. Tavondre Sweat in year 2. Jeff is not just going to sit at the line of scrimmage. So to his point about the pressure that can get in his hand, in the direction of his hand and how he's got to fill the pocket, it will be a little bit different. There is, the ball probably has to come out quicker. You got to see it sooner, those types of things for a guy where there's not many losses on the defensive line. You better get rid of it soon and have that clock that's very real in your mind, or you find yourself in bad situations like that. Or give the defense just more time to stick to your dudes, and there's nowhere to go with the ball.
And the way Cam Ward spoke after practice the other day, talking about the offense being mid right now and them having a lot of work to do, to me, that's the only version of Cam Ward you're going to hear when it comes to reacting to something. I'll be hard-pressed to think he's ever going to step up there and say, no, we're good, we're where we want to be, and all those things. I think that's just kind of how he's going to be wired throughout the process.
It's smart of him to be in that type of position, man, and not oversell himself as if he's made it. Because you look at some of the young I was looking at Jim Harbaugh's record when he went to the San Francisco 49ers, and also his first year with the Chargers. He was 5-11, you know what I'm saying, and 5-12. Like, that's not a really good record. So that point of Vegas making the line, what was it, 5.5, I think, for the Titans, that's a real bet. This is still Callahan's second year with the new quarterback, pretty much figuring out new everything. He's got a new tackle. JC's moved over. He may be without Lloyd Cushenberry early in the season. He's got a new right guard. He's got 2 running backs. He's got to figure out what to do with them, plus new wide receivers. 5-12 ain't far-fetched. As much as we think Cam can do for this team, he's still a rookie. There's still an adjustment to be made. And the idea that you just turn the season over that soon for a team that has this much that it has to do moving forward, 5 ain't bad. I think it sucks for Coach Callahan to be, have that kind of conversation 2.0 for him. But it's a better win-loss record than it was last year. That's a conversation probably for a later date as we speak about projections during the season, or predictions during the season. If we ever play that game, is doubling Coach Callahan's wins do it for you? Does it show that Cam can do more for you? I mean, there's a lot that goes into that conversation. But watching how new coaches and new quarterbacks come into this league, it's rare to have a Jaden Daniels. It really is rare to have that, or C.J. Stroud. You want it, And I think this fan base is salivating for it, but I'm like Cam at this one. Just be cool. This is the old Aaron Rodgers relax right now. Like, that's where I feel like a lot of this hype that we've talked about with Cam and this team and what they could be, mid is probably the best way to just keep it moving forward.
And context is everything, right? That's where I struggle with because it's a reasonable and common question. Like, how many wins are necessary for Brian Callahan to have a year 3 as the head coach of the Titans? It maybe for me, it's because this season is so about Cam Ward, more so than the wins, more so than being in playoff contention. Those things are great, and you just want to be in the graphic, right? Like in week 13 when CBS has that in the hunt graphic, you just want to see the Fireball logo somewhere in there, 100%. But more importantly than any of that is the development of Cam Ward. And the context around which he develops, the rate at which he develops, to me is what determines whether or not Brian Callahan comes back. For example, Moan, if you tell most people 5 to 6 wins this year, I think the general reaction would be, I don't know. But what if 4 of those wins are in the last 6-7 games, right?
Absolutely.
And look, maybe Callahan doesn't make it there if you only have 1 to 2 wins in those first, 12 to 13 games.
No doubt.
But context, we mentioned the Panthers last year with Bryce Young. The record-wise, in year 2 of your number 1 overall pick, production-wise, when you look at the final numbers, nowhere close to where you would want to be. But people feel great right now in Carolina because of how they finished the season after he was benched and came back in, and then something clicked there. And now they're building more around him, and they have some momentum going into this year. So that's where I struggle with the how many wins discussion this year.
And even on the Carolina front right now, they're getting him weapons. I heard, I think, Bert speaking about it yesterday, or it was Blaine and Zach. Tet. I think Tet
McMillan, top 10 pick,
has become a weapon for them. They're seeing stuff that he's doing that's very, appealing to the fact that he can help the young quarterback too. And I do think, of course, getting Chimere Dike and Alec Maynor and having Calvin Ridley is cool. But seeing that first round guy come in at wide receiver, that's a different place to be at for an offense too. Getting you a Ted McMillan next year's draft, whatever they choose to do, there's more help to be had, especially when you mention, if this franchise believes Coach Brian Callahan is the guy for the future, and it seems to me that he is, as it pertains to, the way the team listens to him, his idea that he's confident in the work that he's doing, but he's up against a lot right now because it's so much partially new GMs. I mean, he knows Chad, right? But when you look at the totality of it, you're hoping that he gets a Zach Taylor Cincinnati grace to where he gets his quarterback and you see what the future could be, and then you continue to build with a guy that seems to have a good plan. And with what Chad and it seems like Mike Berganzi have done this past year, they have an eye for finding the right talent that can help this team win. And that's why, essentially for me, I'm not mad at Cody Barton and the stuff that he's doing against the offense. I think this defense still in 2025 should drag the offense to the finish line again, because if you're doing that, then you have the offense take some of the pressure off of it, and you have the ability to learn and grow too. There is that component of it where the defensive special team has to help the young rookie quarterback.
No doubt. And speaking of wide receiver talents, you mentioned Ted McMillan. There's another major talent in the NFL that wants out of his current situation. We'll figure out what's going on around Terry McLaurin and the Washington Commanders coming up next. He's Ramon Foster. I'm Lucas Panzica on 104.5 The Zone. We are broadcasting live from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, getting ready to watch Cam Ward and the Titans take the practice field again to close out the week. But for a moment, we'll jet over to Washington, to the nation's capital, where there was big news that dropped yesterday. Terry McLaurin, star wide receiver for the Commanders, has officially requested a trade. We knew he was in search of a new deal. He had started to hold out of training camp. And I'll shut up and let Adam Schefter talk about the latest with McLaurin and the Commanders.
Wide receiver Terry McLaurin has requested a trade out of Washington. He has not received the contract he has wanted. The two sides have not made any type of meaningful progress. And while he awaits a new deal, he's lost confidence that he can get it from Washington. And so a team that is awash in good vibes now has its first negative story, a controversy that hangs over this franchise. It's popular, respected, talented wide receiver Terry McLaurin now has asked to be traded. Now, the Commanders have had no interest in moving on from Terry McLaurin, but I know there have been other teams that have been monitoring the situation, waiting to see if the circumstances change. Now that McLaurin has requested a trade, we'll see if that does anything to loosen Washington's grip on him. But up until now, the Commanders have had zero interest in moving on from McLaurin. He's shaking it up. He's now requested a trade, Hannah.
That's Adam Schefter talking about Terry McLaurin in Washington. 29 years old, will turn 30 in just over a month. September 15th, has been crazy productive. Since he was drafted in 2019 in the third round out of Ohio State, all but one of his career seasons in the NFL have been 1,000-yard receiving seasons. The only one that wasn't was a 919-yard season his rookie year, and that is with some dreadful quarterback play up until last year, when Jaden Daniels arrives and basically doubles McLaurin's career high in touchdowns, going from what was 7 his rookie year to 13 last year. And, Moan, I understand Terry McLaurin wants top-of-market wide receiver money, and maybe the Commanders don't want to go that far. They don't want to go as far as what Jamar Chase is getting, maybe even what T. Higgins is getting. But it still seems insane to me, with the window they're in right now, to not somehow make it work with their receiver.
And you know what? Terry and McLaurin and his agency know that too. This is I'm talking about a public fight that they've made it right now to put the pressure back on the Washington Commanders, because everybody in that city is probably looking at Scary Terry. As good as he's been, as you said, only time he didn't have 1,000 yards was his freaking rookie year. Think about that. He's been the best thing that happened to them for over 6 years now at this point.
4 straight years of playing all 17 games.
All 17 games on top of that, too. He, to me, has the cards. He can do what he wants to at this point, because when you look at what he's meant to him, and also the other side of it is, you don't want to, as a franchise, stop the progress of your young phenom of a quarterback in Jaden Daniels, too. If I'm Jaden Daniels at this point right now, I don't think he has enough flex to go to the front office, but I'd be having conversations like, man, what are we doing? Why are we not signing him is the question. Even if Lucas, he's not trying to be the highest paid, I do think at this age that he's about to turn to, because the other side is they're going to use that 30 against him. Why not get the best money and deal as you can from a team that you know needs you while you're in their system and you're about to turn 30, instead of them using you up and hitting the market and they devalue the heck out of you. I think somebody will want to trade for him, but here's the other part of it, too. They're going to demand the first, Terry McLaurin, for a guy like Terry McLaurin. That's easy for me. Like, there's no other way around him getting out of Washington while our team giving up a first round. The question you got to ask yourself, who is that team that's that desperate right now, this time of the year, to give up a 26th first-round draft pick? Nobody, really. So they're pretty much stuck with him, but they can't stymie. They cannot stop the development of what Jaden Daniels is as a quarterback. I'm a firm believer, Lucas, that the quarterback pays dividends to the wide receivers, but the wide receivers, when you got a good one like what Terry is to that offense, you can't lose them. Not this close to the season. It is a headache for a team that's got a whole bunch of momentum in a division that's got Philly. They got the world champions in their division, and the Dallas Cowboys trying to make a push too. Look at all that they have. Dallas Cowboys went and got George Pickens. You got Philly and what they got going on right now. You got 4 quarterbacks basically with the Giants. Washington, back up into the corner, talk it over, and get the deal done as well. He's got all the cards, in my personal opinion.
I mean, they have the thing that every NFL team is desperate for, Moan. a star quarterback on a rookie deal.
Oh.
Who cares if you overpay Terry McLaurin? Who cares?
Nobody.
You were a game away from the Super Bowl last year, and they brought in Deebo Samuel in free agency.
Seriously.
They drafted Jalen Lane, I believe a day 2 pick out of Virginia Tech. Right, Noah Brown was a nice player for them last year. You know, the wide receiver
Zach
room
Ertz is still there.
Zach
right
Ertz,
now.
veteran option.
They've made the commitments. I'm looking at the lineup right now with Tunsil.
Yeah.
So you want to disrupt this right now? Is what I'm looking. If I'm their agent, I'm not sure if he's asking for 30. I think Louis Riddick put out a tweet, and I think it was about Scary Terry. He put 30 as the floor. 30 M's is the floor. I'm not sure if that's in 2 years, however you get it, but I think as close as they can get to putting that money up front, they've sold out everybody else. Cosme's one of the best guards around. I like they have good pieces in place. I'm with you. What are y'all doing?
Why be conservative right now? I'm having a hard time making sense of it. Maybe if the Commanders went a little more how they were expected to go last year, this would make sense to try and get a first out of it and continue to build around your young quarterback. But he's the offensive rookie of the year. You've only gotten better in front of him as far as the O-line is concerned. You've only added more weapons, bringing in Deebo Samuel, which could be fun to see what Cliff Kingsbury is able to do with him in the backfield and out wide. And Terry McLaurin not being a part of that feels like such a wasted opportunity. And the rebuttal is he's about to turn 30. I don't care, Moan. I just don't. And
he's been
you tell
always
me
available though.
Right.
No, so I didn't mean to cut you off, but like he's always been available is the issue that they have in Washington. He's paid his dues for unstable franchise and ownership and head coaches for years right now. He's made a name for himself. Had they not had a losing seasons, he'd be more of a Pro Bowler with that squad. He ended up second team All-Pro last year. He was an All-Pro player. And the other part of it that you bring up, what is Deebo Samuel without a Batman? Mm-hmm. That's the issue that they're dealing with right now. Because I think Deebo Samuel is in good shape right now, but we know what his role is. He's a gadget guy. He's not, respectfully, you're a guy every single time that you're finding yourself going to. He's a threat in the run game. He's good close to the line of scrimmage, and he can beat certain guys in matchups. But that goes even more so if you got Terry McLaurin in that lineup with what the Washington has going on right now. Absolutely. Bite the bullet. Pay the man.
We'll see if it ends up working out with the Commanders, and we'll see if this is a tactic for McLaurin, who I would imagine wants to stay in Washington, wants to be paid by Washington. He finally has a quarterback. He's developed the rapport with him. He finally has weapons around him, and the Commanders are such an exciting team to think about in 2025. Man, nothing would neuter that fan base's excitement for the season like trading away your star receiver.
They're going to think they're dealing with Snyder again is what they're going to think.
Yeah, that's what it's exactly. So we'll see how this plays out, but Terry McLaurin officially requesting a trade from the Washington Commanders. And before you guys ask, no, the Tennessee Titans are not in a position to be giving up day one, day two picks for 30-year-old receivers. All that rant about he's still great, he's still a top 10 receiver, not the situation for the Titans at the moment. Not for you. For them, not for you. Not right now. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. We are fueled by Scooter's Coffee, and hour 2 is on the other side as we tell you the Titans position battle that might already have an early favorite. Up next on 104.5 The Zone.
At Genesis Diamonds, it's not just in the name. Diamonds are in their DNA. They dream about diamonds. They obsess about diamonds. Diamonds are their life, all right? They go to the ends of the earth to get you the best diamonds. They look at probably 100 cutters and pick just a few of them to bring back to the showroom. They make sure that every diamond has a certain sparkle and brilliance. They have every diamond graded by the world's most prestigious gem labs. They look way beyond the 4 C's to guarantee it's not just acceptable, it's extraordinary. The experts at Genesis are passionate about diamonds, and they will show show you all the inside tips and tricks on how to maximize your value. You're not going to get this level of quality or expertise at any other store, certainly not one of those big corporate chains. Genesis is your source for hand-picked, GIA-certified diamonds at the guaranteed best price. They'll have ovals, rounds, princess cuts, emerald cuts, heart-shaped, pear-shaped cushion cuts from a half a carat to a 20 carats if you need to. And to properly showcase these exquisite diamonds, Genesis has the designer settings that other stores can't get. All the big-name bridal designers have hand-picked Genesis as their trusted partner. It's a no-brainer. Genesis is the source here for a ring you can be proud of, whether you're getting married soon or have been together for decades. Genesis Diamonds with no compromise. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
It is 6:59. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios, and happy Friday. I'm Justin Hawkins. Tennessee Titans back at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park this morning for an unplanned padded practice, and they'll get started right about 9:15. Head coach Brian Callahan will take to the media ahead of practice at 8:55, and you can hear his presser right here on the show. Los Angeles Chargers and Detroit Lions kicked off the NFL preseason last night at the NFL Hall of Fame game as the Chargers roll over the Lions 34-7. Chargers quarterback Trey Lance played the first three quarters and threw for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Meanwhile, the Lions quarterbacks Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker struggled as they combined for 104 yards passing and 3 interceptions. In other NFL news last night, Washington Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin requested a trade. This comes on the heels of stalled contract negotiations and his hold-in in camp. The two-time Pro Bowler is ending the final year of his 3-year deal, in which he is set to make $15.5 million this season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Getting closer to Titans practice at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Brian Callahan will meet with the media in about 2 hours. We will carry it for you live. Ron Slay will stop by. Brent Hubs coming up at 7:20 for an early Vols fall camp check-in. Much to discuss on this Friday morning, a beautiful Friday in Middle Tennessee. Hope you're all doing well on your way to work. Hope you're getting an early start to your weekend. Either way, we're glad to be here until 10 o'clock. Lucas Panzica with you, filling in for Will this morning alongside the man, Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins is our producer. Kirby Allen Kirby and Joseph Bonanno making it happen live out here at the Titans facility. As all the talk, of course, will be about Cam Ward before, during, and after practice. But there is one Titans position battle, Moan, that felt like going in, it was the most wide-open position battle on the team. And it's almost as though after only over a week of practice, there's an early favorite here, and that's inside linebacker next to Cody Barton. Do you feel like James Williams is staking his claim in that spot, spending a lot of time with the ones next to Barton in team drills?
Absolutely, man. That's what's so unique about like camp battles is they can talk in meetings and try to divvy up reps to keep it as even or not as transparent. But we used to just look at the coaches like, we're looking at what you're showing us. He's going early. I don't know if we can say first or not, but he's going early and often with Cody Barton. And that aside, he's also making plays too, Lucas. He's Johnny on the spot when you need him to in the run game. That was one of my biggest questions for James Williams Senior, is his ability to play close to the line of scrimmage going to look like a linebacker, or will he look like a safety? And he has the size for the linebacker. He's moving good, man. When you need him in his gap, he's there. And, of course, naturally, because of the position he's played all his life as safety, his ability to drop in coverage and just be good in space is there too. So it is, Lucas, like I said, as long as he shows up and performs in the games, it's going to be hard for him to lose it if it still is a competition. But my eyes are seeing him roll early with the first team defense, and he's holding his own. He's not an issue based on the stuff that we're able to see. Like, again, I know the running backs had a couple of big runs. If we were able to go back and look at that tape in that film, we'd probably see something differently that he needs to get better in, and there's going to be that part of it too. His ability to fit up, be able to take on those interior guys, the offensive linemen, and get them off of them and make tackles. So that is something then, since you bring that up, I will be keeping an eye on today since they're in full pads.
They are. Pads are popping today. And we talked about going into that position battle, maybe the need for it to be a guy that can do exactly that, drop back into coverage, that has some of that background to complement Cody Barton. So that could have given the upper hand, we thought, to James Williams or Otis Reese. Both have played defensive back at some point in their career over a Cedric Gray, who was drafted higher than James Williams, or an Anthony Orji, or one of the undrafted free agents coming in. And it's played out that way with James Williams getting those reps. Ironically, Barton's the one who's just been dominating in coverage, who's been manipulating the quarterback, making plays in the passing game like we've talked about ad nauseum in this process. But is there anything specifically about James Williams' skill set that sets him apart from the rest of the guys he's been competing with for that spot?
I think the size is very appealing, man, to anybody that's watching him. And he's also accepting the role of taking on linebacker. I know guys, man, that, no, I'm a safety. This is where I play. I'm outside the box. Don't put me in the box, man. So when you see him look like he's bulked up, Lucas, be in a position that look like a linebacker, move like one too, and has the range and arms to play that. And the best part that he has going for him is the optimism that he can actually grow more, Lucas. Like, you get a guy like him who's in his second NFL year that's making a position change that looks the part already. Can you imagine the idea of this team and Denard Wilson, this Frank Bush, saying, boy, we got us one. We like, that is one of the best things coaches can see, like love when guys like him is not the right now, because James Williams is going to struggle. This is a new position for him, and he's playing closer to the line of scrimmage. There will be the struggle, but the moment that it clicks for him is the moment you find yourself having a conversation like this could be an 8 to 10 year guy, a second contract that can be a part of this defense. And the other part, Lucas, he's already cheaper. Like, his ability, unless he starts getting Pro Bowls and all pros, but like, an extension for him is going to save you probably, if you have a first-round linebacker, $50+ million. You know what I'm saying? Unless James overly proves himself, which is the hope, that he can turn himself into one of those types of guys.
6'4", 232 pounds, second-year player, like you mentioned, 7th-round pick out of Miami, where he was a safety. He made that switch on his rookie year with the Titans and made some plays, a lot of special teams work for James Williams last year. I remember him coming out of high school, Moan. 5-star recruit, Gatorade Player of the Year in Florida, blue chip player as a safety, going on to Miami, where he's had some of that back and forth with Cam Ward, both Miami guys. They didn't overlap. They were not teammates. Obviously, Cam only spent 1 year there, and it was during James's rookie year here. But it does feel like he has an early grasp on that job. Now, if it's because of the performance of James Williams or maybe a lack of true contenders, I guess remains to be seen. Maybe the preseason will show that out a little bit, because I don't feel like we've seen a lot of noise from the other linebackers in that group, right? It's been Barton and Williams who have had a really good camp, but I have not noticed Otis Reese out there a lot. And again, everything
in the run period on day one, I felt like he was in the backfield. I noticed him then.
Yeah.
I think Otis is a teamer, special teamer. And that's okay too, Luke, because you know what I'm saying? And he can come in and spot start when you need a guy like him to start too. But to your point, it hadn't been as flash as you want it to be for a guy like him.
Yeah, Cedric Gray has been operating a lot with the threes in this process. Yes. So we'll see how much run James Williams gets next to Cody Barton. You have had to play against these guys a lot. You've had a game plan for these type of duos in the NFL. Just that communication between Barton and Williams, like the time spent together on the field. How long of a runway is typically needed for that position specifically to be able to be on the same page before the season?
A spring and a camp for them, because, again, the communication of a defense has to be very lock and step too, but their ability to make mistakes is a little bit more fluid than I think what an offensive scheme is, essentially, man. When you look at them, when they're going to be playing their sets, when they're both out there, it is who you got versus what I got. It's roles that those guys have played. And what I feel like we've seen a little bit is James a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage, and Cody's dropping back, man. So it's going to be fascinating to see how they employ those two dudes to do that job. The other part, too, I want to bring up, too, is sometimes your pathway into the NFL just sucks. And Cedric Gray, I feel like, is in that position, too. Came in injured, didn't get in until he got on special teams. By that time, James was already on defensive sets and playing and making plays on special teams, too. He got the one-up on him off the basis of an injury, man, with Cedric Gray coming into the league. And that's something that Cedric Gray doesn't need to hold against himself. He's just, to your point, got to continue to move up in the twos and those threes rotations. And if he finds an opportunity where Cody Barton gets a day off, he's got to attack. He's got to go, man, because he either better kill it with Coach Bones Fossil on special teams, or find a way to capitalize on somebody else being out. That's just injuries in the NFL. It's next man up, and James Williams, to his credit, has taken full advantage of it, man. Even so much so, over to your point, Otis Reese. I thought Otis Reese was going to have a strong contingency to win one of those inside linebacker spots. He has flash when it comes down to, him making a play in the run period and stuff, but in totality, it's been James.
And think about Cedric Gray and just the narrative around him coming in, 4th-round pick out of North Carolina, and it felt like the spring of 2024, the entire offseason program of 2024, the discussion around it was the green dot. Who's going to wear the green dot, right? We kind of had to be talked down a little bit by people like you. I remember Rand talking about it, like, hey, it's not as important as you guys are making it. But Cedric Gray was a guy that we were considering. Like, could this rookie stake his claim and be that guy making calls in the middle of the defense? And then, unfortunately for him, Moan, he's kind of just disappeared into the background since then. The injury played a part last year.
Yeah.
He wasn't a factor for this team until about midseason. Yeah. And then he's thrown into special teams. There were some mistakes there. There were a lot of mistakes on special teams by a lot of people last year. And James Williams is just a guy that you notice out there, whether it's the size, the movement, the voice barking, talking back and forth with Cam, the energy on the practice field. He just kind of pops. This is how non-football people like me evaluate football. I noticed that guy.
You're 100% correct, though. But here's the cool thing about it for a guy like James Williams, though, is you find yourself with a guy like Cody Barton, man, who's had to do the exact same things that he's doing. Cody Barton, when he came here, he had that conversation about how he had to learn and grow and sit behind guys and somewhat figure out how to play inside linebacker. You got to think about it. Cody's just now getting to a point to where he is the penciled-in starter as it pertains to him being the guy here. I think a little bit of it last year was that start of it, but he played behind guys like Bobby Wagner. So knowing Bobby Wagner in the walking gold jacket that he is, Cody has to pass forward all the stuff that he's learned. And what I mean by that is James Williams is in a position to have a player coach. And that's so doggone cool when you have guys that aren't selfish, that have gone the long way to get to a point to where they get their second contract and they're now a starter on the new team. You ask about that cohesion that he and James Williams are going to have. I don't think there's anybody better right now that can help him than what Cody Barton is. So I don't worry about the communication side of it. Cody seems to be a smart guy. James seems to be a sponge with everything that's going on right now. It's a matter of, Lucas, when the bullets are real, him making plays in the game. And like I said, his biggest test is always going to be, because me personally, knowing that a guy's coming in from safety, I'm laughing because I'm a prick about certain stuff, okay? But if a guy, you tell me, is coming in from a safety and you want to play linebacker now in the NFL and I'm a seasoned vet, Lucas, I'm grabbing on and holding him. Do you understand me? Every time I got the opportunity to block him, if he doesn't have his punch and shed down, I'm grabbing him and say, "You sure you want to come and play with the big boys?" And I'm pushing him at the end of it, Lucas. Like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm this big tough guy, but like my mentality of you got on the wrong shoes and don't belong in this club, I need to see it. Do you hear me? And I would bully the hell out of him, man. So he needs to get his mindset for guys that have that mindset. Bro, you are a safety. There's a different world in here. That's all I'm worried about with James. Is that fair?
It's fair, and he's going to get that a little bit at joint practice against the Bucks and against the Falcons, those offensive lines. So, yes, there will be more tests to come for James Williams, but early on, he is the one that is kind of rising above the rest when it comes to that spot, holding it down next to Cody Barton, who has anyone had a better camp than Barton, do you think, either side of the ball?
No, nobody's had a better one. No, I think JC's, what he's done and how stable he's been, yeah, that's fair on him, but nobody's had more explosion, more known plays than him.
615-737-1045 is how you jump in. Also on 1045 The Zone TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. On the F&M Bank chat, we are brewed by Scooter's Coffee. Now, before we switch gears to college football, let's let a caller kind of set us up here before we chat with Brent Hubs, learn a little bit about fall camp. Big Orange Mac is up next on 1045 The Zone.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mac.
I want to set the tone for Mr. Hubs come on real quick. I got a couple of messages. We're 30 days away from the greatest season during the year, college football season. My first message to all my brothers and sisters across this great state, from Mountain City to Memphis. All right?
We're ready. We're ready. Come on.
I'm ready, Mac.
We got to keep our heads at all times, whether we are ahead, tied, or behind. All right? Pull your chin strap tight. And if things go south go south quickly, in a hurry, we got to rest on our laurels that the troughs in Neyland Stadium are better than the only two available bathrooms in Ohio Stadium. Now, my second message is to all my non-ball friends and family. I want you to know that I love each and every one of you from the bottom of my 300-pound big back heart. With that being said, I hope your team burns in the eternal lake of fire, including the one particular team of the man that looks like his mama and daddy purchased Brad Pitt off Wish.com, the one and only Dylan Lanes. Dylan James, there's one thing for certain across this great state. We don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama. Ramon and Will, y'all have a great day, and go Big Orange.
Go Big Orange, baby. Here we go, Mac.
Brent Hubs of VolQuest next. Beautiful morning in Middle Tennessee. I don't know how it's feeling on the Chattahoochee River, but I imagine it's pretty nice in East Tennessee, and they're getting some respite there as well, as Brent Hubs of VolQuest joins us now. Brent, good morning.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good morning, Hubs.
We got no complaints over here. I mean, we have been for over a week now, Brent, just trying to dissect every practice rep and every play of Cam Ward. Only a couple of those practices have been in pads. So I feel like we're handing the baton to you now to overanalyze the first couple days of practice from an ongoing quarterback competition in Knoxville, if you could.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, this is the old Eeyore in me, right? Like you're 2 days in, no pads. We've seen about 10 periods of practice, a lot of routes versus air. Not a lot of one-on-one type stuff. I mean, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You're stacking days. I think all three quarterbacks have shown that they've got a solid command of things. Mentally, I think they've done a good job with the installs. It doesn't seem like they're confused or lost on where to go with the ball or what to do. And so I think it's been a solid start for all three. I mean, I think the first day of reckoning in that competition comes a week from tomorrow when Tennessee has their first scrimmage. And then it starts to sort itself out. Now they're doing 11-on-11 stuff that we don't get to see. But I don't think they feel discouraged about that position. I don't think anybody has run off and left anybody else. And I don't think anybody's got left behind through 2 days. So we'll see where we are this time next week heading into the scrimmage.
One thing that stuck out during SEC Media Days was for us when Miles Kitselman, the tight end, sat down with 3HL, Brent, and he talked about there not really being that voice on the sideline after, a third straight 3-and-out or whatever it might be. And he admitted, it should have been me, but that they didn't really have that on the offensive side last year. However this quarterback battle shakes out, do you feel, and maybe it's too early to tell, but do you feel that there's potential for that voice to be there with any one of these three guys?
Yeah, I think it's Miles Kitselman. I think, and to be honest with you, I think, look, if you, and Ramon, you know this, if you know who the guy is, and the guy has emerged and he's become the guy, it's much easier to be that vocal guy. It's hard to be the guy if the other 10 guys are going, okay, he's going to be this guy to me, and in next series we're going to play with a different quarterback because they're rotating because they don't know who they have, right? Like, at some point it's kind of the old Peyton Manning his freshman year in 94 where like, dude, just shut up and call the play. Like, you're not an established guy yet. Once you know who the guy is, I think it becomes much easier for someone to be more vocal. I do think that Joey probably has more of that to him naturally just because he's played and he's been in those situations. So I think if he's the guy, then I think there's a chance that the quarterback can become a little bit more of an alpha early or earlier. With the other two, George has been on campus since January. Now, George has the respect of his teammates, but is he ready to just ascend and take the role that he's in total command and everything's with him with an iron fist? Same with Jake Merklinger. But the interesting thing about his offense is when you take Miles Kitselman out of the equation, there is no veteran vocal guy because there's no veteran guy left. Lance Hurd is second-year starter. Basically, the rest of the offensive line is brand new. Deshaun Bishop, who I dearly love, I think he's a terrific kid, and I think he's going to have a really good year. I don't think it's a natural instinct for him to be a leader. And then in the receiver room, nearly 60% of the guys in that room have never put on a uniform for a college game before. So you're so young, you really need Kitselman early to be really, really strong vocally with the entire offense until he gets a running mate with the quarterback position.
Brent Hubs of VolQuest with us on 104.5 The Zone.
You bring that up as far as the wide receivers room. Chris Brazel's out right now, too, and Lucas and I were talking a little bit on break. That is something that's got to, I guess, be sped up this preseason, the amount of reps that these guys get and who's taking them, the guys that have a little bit of playing time, man, like a Chris Brazel. Lucas, what's the number? They're very low on live reps right now.
Brent, of the guys that are practicing out there at that position, is it less than 10 career catches?
Yeah, I would think so. And would Braylon Staley finish? Maybe it's more like less than 15. I think Staley ended up with 4 last year. Mike Matthews had probably 10-ish, somewhere in there. So you're probably less than 20, I would say for sure, but maybe less than 15. I mean, it is a very young group. I don't think that Tennessee did a good job of rotating those young guys in. I mean, Ramon, how many Fridays on game weeks last fall did we ask the question, or did you ask the question, is this the week we're going to see Mike Matthews? Is this Mike Matthews week? Is this Mike Matthews week? And it really wasn't Mike Matthews week until it was a mop-up duty or it was some injuries late in the year. We saw him against Vanderbilt. We saw him some in the playoff game, obviously. Same for Braylon Staley because guys were beat up. Guys had gone into the portal. But they really didn't integrate those guys early in the year, and because of that, they're relatively inexperienced, and they're getting every rep their body can take. And the challenge is how much can their body take? Because here's what you can't do. I mean, Chris Brazel's out. He should be back next week. Without Brazel, you're down to 6 scholarship wide receivers. Don't pull a hammy. Don't have anybody come up with a hamstring. So you got to be careful about how much you're just running them to death. And I think the wide receiver position is not the reason for this, but I think when you look at the sports science of it all, Tennessee's basically going 2 on, 1 off throughout fall camp. So they're off today. They'll practice Saturday, Sunday. They're off Monday. They go Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday. And so those off days are physical off days. They're not mental off days, but physically they're not out running around on the practice field because I think you got to be careful about the old soft tissue muscle pulls, particularly with the wide receiver group right now.
No doubt about it. On the guys protecting up front, man, the storyline that everybody couldn't wait to say that David Sanders Jr. gained over about 30 pounds, him and Deshaun Brame. What do those guys look like, Hubs, from the time you saw them to now, especially a big guy like David Sanders, man, that penciled in to be the right tackle starter?
Well, when you see David Sanders, your eyes are gonna get big and you're gonna smile, Ramon, as a former Tennessee offensive lineman, because you're like, yep, that's what it's supposed to look like right there. I mean, maybe 10 more pounds at some point in his career, play closer to 315 than 305. But the original goal for David Sanders was to get to 290. That's where he was trying to get to, and he blew right past 290 at 305 right now. It'll fluctuate, obviously, during fall camp, but he looks terrific physically. I mean, he's – and it was interesting in talking to him yesterday, not just what he said, but kind of how he said it and his demeanor about it. A different feel from him because yesterday in one-on-ones, even though they weren't pads, they did pass rush one-on-ones, he did not feel like he got run over or shoved around or thrown around. In the springtime, one, it was some technique of learning right side versus left side because your footwork's different, so that was part of it. Two, just physically from a strength and weight standpoint, it was easy for a strong side defensive end to toss him and to move him around. Dominic Bailey and those veteran guys were moving him around, and he felt like he could sit down and kind of squat on it yesterday and not get moved or driven back or kind of tossed around. And boy, it had given him a lot of confidence when he came into the media room yesterday. The other confidence he has, Ramon, we talked about this in the spring. What David did the back half of spring is he turned his Sunday off day into what I call extra credit day. He would go to the complex, and during spring practice, he would get with a QC or a grad assistant or someone. They would watch film, go over the installs from the previous week, get a jump start on the new installs that were coming in, and then they would go out and walk through it. And he would spend anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half on his own just refreshing and relearning and getting a jump start. And that worked really well for him the back half of spring. So as he told me yesterday, if it's working well, why stop doing it? So all summer long, he still went in on Sundays. And instead of an hour and a half, it became more 45 minutes to an hour. And he really just continued to dive into the playbook and the technique to get himself more comfortable and more confident. And I think you could hear that in his voice yesterday when he met with the media.
Phenomenal, man. The ones that want to be great, they do that stuff that's time-consuming so that they can live like kings later, man. Good on him for figuring that type of stuff out. The other side of things, man, because he's back in the building, I don't think we've talked to anybody in Knoxville after Heupel spoke about Boo Carter. Man, it seems to me a lot of community service, a lot of acclamation. He seems to be working solo by himself on the indoor. What does it look like for him, Hubs? And have you guys have the ability to have him speak? I doubt he's going to speak anytime soon.
No, I don't know that we'll see him or hear him speak to the media all year if he's back on this team. I think with Boo right now, it's about stacking days, Ramon. I mean, 2 good days, that's great. What's he doing today? His off day is going to look different than the rest of the guys' off days, I'm sure. I mean, he's got to continue to put day in and day out and stack it on top of each other to work his way back. This is not all right, you did this for a week, you're good to go. He is still working to earn the trust of his teammates back. Now, he stood up in front of the team on Tuesday in the meeting and spoke to them and apologized and, kind of spoke about sort of, I guess, the last month. I don't think he went into great detail, but he did apologize to the team. And, I think that some in the team are probably pretty quick to forgive, and some others are like, you know what, I gotta see it, man. I gotta see the results. You say you're going to do this, you got to go out and do it. And I think Josh Heupel understands that. I think the Leadership Council has made that very clear. And so that's why Josh Heupel's not putting any kind of timetable on this. And it's about, did he do what he was supposed to do yesterday? And is he doing everything he's supposed to do today? You better be on time. You better not roll in late for a conditioning work, right? You better not roll in late for a community service. You better not roll in late for any meeting. It's all the little things that he has to do, and you're trying to change habits, and you don't change habits in 2 days. This is going to be days he has to stack. So we'll see. I mean, Josh Heupel will meet the media again probably next Saturday night. We'll get an update there on kind of how that's progressing, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be a quick return, or 3 or 4 days, hey, you punished, and here you go back. It doesn't feel like it's going to be like that, Ramon.
Brent Hubs of VolQuest with us. Only a few days already gone of Tennessee fall camp. No pads on quite yet. As another battle that's kind of taking place there, Brent, is obviously at the running back spot. For you, what do you believe is more likely in 2025? That one of these guys earns their way up to being the lead horse the way it's been for the last couple of years, or that it goes back to being more of a by-committee approach the way it was in the first 2 years of the Heupel era?
I think it's more by committee. I don't think that's – sometimes when you have by committee, that means you don't have a guy. I don't think that's the case. I think they feel like they have 2 guys right now that they have complete trust in, and both those guys have earned the right to take as many carries as possible. And that's Deshaun Bishop and that's Peyton Lewis. I think they like where both those guys are. Star Thomas is the X factor, the transfer in from Duke. How much does he factor in? And then the other X factor on that is Darrell Sims. Is Sims going to be a 2-back guy or a 3-back guy? Now, Sims tells me throughout his career he's played as many as 1 and all the way to 4. I don't know how you play 4 in a game. I think that's a little unrealistic. So are you going to play 2 or 3, regularly? I think that's going to be the interesting thing. I'll tell you who I would not bet against, and I'm not betting against Deshaun Bishop. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think he's driven. I think he's motivated. I think he knows this is his opportunity. He looks like $1 million. I think his focus is where it needs to be. He's going to be 1A or 1B. And then I think Peyton Lewis figured out the back half of spring, I better get going and finish strong. I think those 2 guys are trying to take the lead run in that room, and we'll see what happens with Star Thomas. And then do they have a package or have any role for DeJuan Morris, or is he going to be more special teams, potential return guy? How does that look like for him? Right now it feels like it's Bishop and Lewis is kind of a 1-2 punch, and I think they'll play that way to start the year.
And 455 rushing yards last year for Bishop, the lead returning rusher on this team. Some recruiting momentum continued this week, Brent, with the commitments of Salesi Moa, the 4-star athlete out of Utah. And right here in our backyard, Joel Wyatt of Oakland transferred there this offseason, a 4-star athlete. How do you see both of these guys deployed at Tennessee, and what does it mean just for the momentum of this 2026 class?
Well, I think it's important for momentum, but I think it's also more important because you got guys that you wanted and that you targeted. Joel White's a guy Tennessee wanted for the longest time. A lot of people look at his frame and think he's going to be an outside rush guy at some point in time. He wants to play in the back end. He went to the Rivals 5-star challenge and excelled in the back end against quality competition. And Tennessee's made it very clear to him that he's going to start in the back end of the defense, and we'll see. We'll see what happens with his body. Is he a 30-pound gainer in the offseason, or is he a guy that it doesn't go that way? We'll see. Good athlete, can play in space, long, got good range. Even if he moves closer to the line of scrimmage, I think you could see him do some different things in terms of drop coverage and stuff like that. I don't think his entire career is going to be pin your ears back and sprint towards the quarterback. I think you can use him in a variety of ways. Big get for Tennessee, certainly a priority. Tennessee's been the favorite there. They just, it took a while. And Joel really went through the process and looked at a lot of things. And, again, that's one Tennessee targeted early, had to get, and they got that one done. And then with Moa, I mean, how many times you can go just outside Salt Lake City and get a guy whose dad played at Utah, right? Yeah. I mean, that's not – tip of the cap to Kelsey Pope. I mean, I know we got rev share and I know we got some NIL stuff there, but, I mean, this is not a straight-up just, outbid everybody type deal or anything like that. This is about the relationship that Kelsey Pope built with Moa and his family. Moa wanted to play in the SEC. He wanted to play against the best competition. He wanted to prove himself. He thinks he's got a chance to be an NFL player. He wanted to come and play against the elite. I think a lot of SEC schools heard that, but probably didn't think they could really get that deep in it. And Kelsey Pope just believed, hey, we get him on campus, we got a chance. Let's keep swinging here. And he's the guy who led the charge on that, particularly early. Like, guys, this is real. I mean, I'm promising you, there's something there. This is real. And it kept building and it kept building and it kept building to the point that Moa commits to Tennessee yesterday. And we all felt like Tennessee was in it because he had all summer to commit to Utah after he visited Utah and hadn't made that move. So you felt like, okay, Tennessee's a real threat here. But would he ultimately spur a legacy and leave home and go that far? And he did. SEC, Tennessee, Kelsey Pope. Hats off to Pope for selling all of that and getting it done. They did a great job with him on his official visit, making him comfortable here and making the family comfortable here. That's a big win for Tennessee. Really good player. Now Tennessee's focused on a couple of 5-stars in the month of August to see if they can close it out with Savion Hyder, the tailback, and a running back, Tristan Keith. We'll see if they can get those done. But Tennessee's on a pretty good heater right now. It's been a nice July for Tennessee on the recruiting front, that's for sure.
I was very skeptical on Celeste Moa because of the Polynesian tie, considering how the spring went with Nico, and it seemed to have a big conversation around it. I just didn't know if, based upon the connections and how everybody's interconnected these days social media-wise, if there was something that was ever said about the Vols and Polynesians in Tennessee. Not that it had to, but that's a tight community, and I'm glad to see they're able to still recruit that area and that side of the country too, because, that's a lot of talent out there too, Hubs.
Well, there is, but it takes a special deal to win those. I mean, you got to understand really how to recruit those families, and there's such a tight knit bond with those families that a lot of people in the family have a say. I mean, I remember when Tennessee was recruiting JT Mapu from Hawaii, and that was kind of my first coverage of that culture. And Steve Caldwell went over there for a dinner, and there's 55 people at the dinner. I mean, it's not a dinner. It's like a gathering, a reunion, and he had to sell Tennessee to all 55 people because all 55 people, their opinion was going to be heard when they had a family meeting about where JT was going. So it's a different type of recruitment. You have to understand that when you recruit into that culture, particularly when you're trying to get them out or you're battling against a school that's very ingrained in that culture like Utah is. And man, like I said, I can't give Kelsey Pope enough credit for just the way he swung and battled in that deal for months and months there to ultimately end up landing his commitment. And then obviously his signature will come in December.
Real two quick ones for me, but because you bring up Kelsey Pope, it was, of course, you hear the rumblings of can he recruit? What was this is huge for him, and also him being able to, if he can flip Tristan Keys, that changes the outlook on him being a young recruiter, you think also?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think it's, you're learning, you're growing, you're adapting, and I think that if they could pull Key, you look at where they are with Legend Bay, you look at where they are with Moa, you look at where they are with with Tyreek King from here in Knoxville. I mean, that's a really good receiver haul talent-wise for this class. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's a big win for Kelsey Pope. And I think I think it sends a message to the fans out there that this guy can recruit, and we'll see if he can finish off what would be arguably one of the best wide receiver classes in the country, if not the best wide receiver class in the country, if you were able to flip Tristan Keys from LSU.
That's huge. And you also, if you guys aren't subscribed to VolQuest on 3 and look at Brent Hubs' War Room on Fridays, you're not living right is what I want to say, because you snuck something in, Hubs.
No, I would never do such a thing, Ramon. What did I do?
One-liner is what you did. 2 sentences is what it was. You expect a formal announcement on this Adidas in the next week or so from what you say your sources are telling you.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're at the finish line, and I think that it's just a matter of a couple of language things in the contract, a couple of cleanup things there, and I think that deal's going to get done. We all thought it would be done sometime in July, but I think that Tennessee is obviously doing their due diligence on this and making sure some things are worded the way they want and everything is understood and the commitment that's going to be made there. So, yeah, I mean, I anticipate that coming as early as next week. If it's not next week, I'll be shocked if we don't have a deal in place and formally announced in 2 weeks. But I do think there's a chance that could come late next week for sure.
How big is this deal, though? I know leaving Nike's one thing. Adidas is bringing up, it looked like not a Brinks truck, but it seems to be an 18-wheeler full.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I haven't seen the contract. Now, I know the rumors of all those things out there and you know, like they're going to just drop, you know, just this crazy amount of cash. But how's that going to be structured? Is there a level of play with them in rev share and NIL? How's that worded? I mean, I don't know that it's going to be a situation where it's just this one large, huge check that drops everybody's jaw. But I think when you dive into this thing, you're going to see that the level of commitment from Adidas was certainly higher than Tennessee was ever going to get out of Nike. Remember this about Nike, too. Nike's in a transition. They got new leadership at the top, and Nike's trying to figure out kind of what is their future, what direction do they want to go. Are they going to stay in the college sports world? With some blue bloods, I'm sure that they will. But are they going to be heavy in that world? Are they going to be more in the pro athlete? Are they going to focus more on basketball? Nike's kind of been all over the place, right? They've been a grassroots company with a lot of youth stuff. They're not doing as much high school things now. You know, it was a big deal at your high school was a Nike school. They're not doing as much as those things as they were doing in the past. So where do they go? Where does Adidas go? When Tennessee made this move 10 years ago from Adidas to Nike, the brand of Nike was really important to Tennessee, the administration, and the coaches at that point. Tennessee actually took less money 10 years ago to go to Nike than Adidas was offering. They just walked away from Adidas because they felt like the Nike brand in recruiting, the coaches felt like they needed that, and it was a big help for them in recruiting. In this day and age of rev share and NIL, I don't know that that's as big of a deal. For example, I mean, Tristan Keys, who's the #1 wide receiver in the country, he's an Adidas athlete. You have some pro guys who are rocking Adidas. So I think Adidas's play is kind of getting back into it with their new leadership. And, you know, I think their direction's a little more defined than Nike's direction is right now because of the new leadership at Nike. That doesn't mean Nike's bad. I'm not saying that. Nike's in an interesting spot because there are several schools around the country over the next couple of years that are coming due in terms of renewals. Are they going to go that direction, or are they going to go more individual athlete on the pro side direction and try to keep just a handful of blue bloods, the Texas, the Alabamas, you know, Michigan, Ohio State? I mean, to get Tennessee into that category, it was going to cost Nike so much money. I don't think they really wanted to go that way. And Adidas wants a blue blood, and they view Tennessee very, very highly in terms of what Tennessee can do for their brand. And I think that's kind of why we're where we are right now, what this thing looks like moving forward.
There you go.
It's a great
Brent Hubs of VolQuest. A lot to break down off of that, and we'll react to it coming up next. Brent, thank you so much for the time.
Hubs.
Great catching up.
I appreciate it, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. At Brent_Hubs, like Ramon said, VolQuest.com. Everything you need covering the Vols is there. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll react to that. The switch to Adidas, the Boo Carter, way back to this football team. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. That's next on 1045 The Zone.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Man, nobody wants to deal with the plumbing, HVAC, or an electrical emergency. Most of the time, you don't know what it's going to cost, if it's going to get fixed right, or if somebody's just trying to sell you something you do not need. When you call Hiller, the experts are going to solve your problems quickly too, man. And the price you're told is actually the price you're going to pay. There are no hidden fees when you get your bill either. No surprises at all. Hiller's been here in the business for over 35 years and are family owned and operated. Their techs are also professional, experienced, and trustworthy. And they're all background checked and drug screened too. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of that tech and a link to track them in real time, so you're not wasting time waiting around. Their motto is, and they live by it, man, happy you'll be or the service is free. If you aren't satisfied with the job that Hiller's done, man, they will make it right or just simply give you your money back. To learn more about Hiller or to book with them, simply visit happyhiller.com.
Interesting stuff from Brent Hubs of VolQuest. A lot to digest. Welcome back. Lucas Panzica stepping in for Will today alongside Ramon Foster, Vol Network analyst, 11-year NFL vet. Justin Hawkins back at the station. We are live at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park as we get ready for Titans practice. But Vols talk following Brent Hubs because there's a lot there. Number one, Tennessee switching to Adidas. Seems like that is all but official. Ramon, what is your initial reaction to that? Because you played in Adidas at Tennessee. It's been on a run of Nike, or Nike, as Hubs would say, for the last decade plus.
Facts.
Where do you fall on all this?
Man, I'm a Nike guy. Have always been. My closet, I have 2 pair of Adidas, I think, in my house. That's essentially what it is. The brand itself speaks loud. When I was playing in Adidas, we wanted Nike. We wanted the shoes. Only because it's the popularity of what Nike is. It just seems cooler to be with Nike. And Adidas, like I said, the jersey was super thick back in the day. They looked old. The alignment cleat were problematic. I felt like my feet hurt more in those. I couldn't wait to get to the NFL to heck try on some Nikes, and I loved them ever since. And I ended up having a Nike player contract when they were doing those types of things. So I'm pro Nike, but hearing the amount of money, it's hard sometimes to switch networks or do anything else when that type of money is thrown in front of you. You got to go in this era where revenue sharing is a part of it. And if they want to make Tennessee a premier school, what I say is this: go where you're wanted. If that number, and we used to hear it back in the day, player talk is what this was, locker room talk. We would hear that Adidas was giving us like $40 million or something like that a year, whatever it was, whatever that number was. And like the the Nike contract was like 15. And our equipment guys, Hawk, and, those guys are just like, yes, we have to go with Adidas. Like, it's money in this sense. Like, it makes sense. They cater to the organizations or the programs out here way better than Nike does. You call Nike get back to you in a day or two. You call Adidas service is A1. Whatever you want, you get. It was plentiful when it came down to guys getting Adidas gear because Adidas gives you so much that you don't have to worry about the flops and the sweatsuits and the bags and all the equipment that you want because they want to please you. Nike, you need them. It's the way they view it. So in this era where you got to settle for the money in almost every aspect of it, Lucas, if we're talking about $80 million a year, if that's the number, I doubt it's that high. But if we're talking about 3 times, 4 times what Nike's giving you, if we know what Danny White is, Lucas, which one is he doing?
Yeah, Danny White's a fundraiser.
He's a fundraiser.
Danny White is going with that option. And I think there is something, too, with what Brent Hubs said, too, about that factor, the apparel being less and less of a factor as the money kind of just outweighs that and just about everything else in this era of college football, and money is what is coming with Adidas. I will not begrudge Tennessee fans for wanting a better look than what Adidas was giving towards the end of that run with some of those smoky grays. And so we'll see just how much more control Tennessee has over the situation. But in this era, 100%, there is no option when Adidas is making that much stronger of a case. And then there's Boo Carter, who, according to Hubs, if you missed it, is getting work done on a side field. He's doing conditioning work. He's doing some community service stuff. Recently visited a children's hospital. Obviously, Josh Heupel said on Tuesday that he is still on this team, but he's going to have to work his way back. He's going to have to earn the trust of his teammates. He spoke with his team after basically being disconnected with them for the entire offseason, for probably losing a lot of trust in some moments, not doing the things that he was supposed to do that everyone else was doing. You have some experience with, I guess, similar situations, right? And obviously, your time in Pittsburgh, there was plenty of off-field stuff that surrounded Lev Bell, that surrounded Antonio Brown. When you consider the process of a teammate earning back the trust of the rest of his football team, what does that sound like to you? Like, if you're in the shoes of one of those people where that trust has to be earned back, what are you wanting to see from someone like Boo Carter?
Like Hub said, some going to love it and some just going to, turn their nose up at it. That's what Boo has to deal with more than anything. Like, it's the idea of the teammates that's on the other side that he's going to have to do more than he does for some. What it looks like, though, Lucas, is a guy being not even necessarily humble, but just being a dude. Like, bro, you broke chain. You broke the line. Like, we were here doing everything we were supposed to do, and you were doing your own thing. I need every day from you. I need plays being made. That's the biggest part that's going to cover it up, that's going to bandage it, is will he be there every single day? His ability to make plays. Say what we want to about this world. Nike did the ad with Tiger a few years ago. Winning cures all. Like, if he shows that he's going to contribute, be a winner, be the model citizen on and off the field, he spring one, kickoff return, punt return back, he's in a different conversation. He makes the plays or picks somebody off in practice, show that he's in tune to what he's got going on. And I also say this for him, I would advise of him, be a better leader. Yeah, I messed up. Don't be like me. Like, those are the type of sentiments that his teammates need to hear for the ones that's going to be on the other side. They don't care about him going to the children's hospital. They don't care about him running extra in practice. They don't care about him being quiet. No, be the guy that you said you were going to be, because there's a lot of people that not only on this team but in this state that admire what Boo Carter is and want to support him. So show that lead out front, man. That, to me, I think is going to be the biggest separator for a guy like him. Like, he was talking about David Sanders Jr. Him doing the extra, like, that's what I expect from what I've heard about a guy like Boo Carter. It's your Sundays off. Are you in there getting extra to make yourself a better prospect, better teammate, and a better player for this team?
Boo Carter needs to earn his way back onto the practice field, much less the playing field when the season rolls around. And the next few weeks will be pivotal for him in that regard. 615-737-1045 is how you jump in. $2 Elvis up next to talk Vols. Good morning, $2 Elvis.
Look out, man. It's me, $2 Elvis, the cheapest Elvis in Parker, America. How you boys doing this morning?
Good.
Wonderful, wonderful, man. Listen, man, my thing about Boo Carter, man, is, he ain't going to be with us next year. Just cut him now. That's how I feel about him. Seriously, man, this whole NIL thing has changed it so much, man. When your starting quarterback might be playing against you next year, man, something's wrong with that. And I just feel that Boo Carter won't be with us next year. Somebody will outbid us. And it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know how to fix it, man. I was a Division II college football player. I knew I wasn't going to go pro. I just wanted to bust somebody up. You hear me over there, Ramon? You hear me, man? I wanted to bust somebody up, man. That's what I wanted to do, man. That's what I wanted to do. And it's just changed so much, man. They don't play for the school. They don't play for their teammates. I understand they're young men. They got to get it while they can. I understand all those things, man, but something's got to be done, man. I don't know the answer, man. I'm just a simple tour guide here in Nashville, so I don't know what I'm talking about necessarily. As far as Adidas and Nike, well, I'm going to tell you, man, we won more ball games under Adidas. Nike does have us looking sharper, but I'm telling you, man, I'm sorry them cleats hurt your feet, Ramon. Them black cleats with them 3 white stripes just look tougher to me. And Nike would have Tennessee playing in pink polka dots if they let them. If Nike thought that would sell another jersey, they'd have us out there in pink polka dots, man.
No doubt about it. We appreciate that, man.
Thanks for the call.
React to that. No doubt.
What I would give for an Elvis impersonator to call in from 10 to 1.
Listen to me.
Like, I got to listen to Buck Blab for 3 hours. I got to, and you guys get Elvis impersonators on this show.
$2 Elvis, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That was beautiful, man. You hear it in his voice, too.
Oh, it's good stuff.
It was coming through, and I like that, man. His balls took over, but his $2 Elvis was
good
there,
stuff.
too.
Titans hit the practice field today. Brian Callahan speaks in 1 hour to the media. What do we want to see from the offensive line and its progress as that battle for the third tackle is well underway? And we've seen some guys start to emerge over the last couple of days. That and more coming up next. It's hour 3 of Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone.
Prince's Hot Chicken, the original hot chicken. They know a thing or two about hot, so they are bringing you the hottest moments of the week from Ramon and Will. This is a segment I like to call Prince's Hot Mic.
We didn't get in trouble, I don't think.
No, yeah, you're good.
Well, when your boss comes in, I'll be gone. I'll watch it. No, it's fine. I'll watch that.
Speaking of punting.
I love her to death, but I'm going to punt her into that room. That's great. Thank you. So I just realized the only person who's going to get in trouble is me when I go home.
Oh, my wife did listen.
Hot mics and hot chicken. Prince's knows hot. Prince's Hot Chicken, the original hot chicken. It is 8:03. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios, and happy Friday. I'm Justin Hawkins. Tennessee Titans back at practice at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park this morning, and they'll get started around 9:15 a.m. Head coach Brian Callahan will speak to the media later this hour at 8:55. You can hear the presser right here on the show. Los Angeles Chargers Detroit Lions kicked off the NFL preseason last night with the NFL Hall of Fame game as the Chargers roll over the Lions 34-7. Chargers quarterback Trey Lance played the first three quarters and threw for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lions quarterbacks struggled as Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker combined for 104 yards passing and 3 picks. In other NFL news, Washington Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin requested a trade last night. This comes on the heels of stalled contract negotiations and his hold-in with Commanders camp. The two-time Pro Bowler is entering the final year of his 3-year deal, and which he is set to make $15.5 million this season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Beautiful Friday morning out here at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park as we get ready for Titans practice to send you, at least get you closer to your weekend. Head coach Brian Callahan will speak in 50 minutes. Pads will be popping after that, and there is still much to discuss as we are halfway through the show. Welcome back in. I'm Lucas Panzica, filling in for Will this morning alongside Vol Network analyst, 11-year NFL vet Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins is back at Network Control, making things happen. You can jump in, 615-737-1045, and also on 1045 The Zone TV, where it's starting to get crowded there. We've got Ron Slay, we've got Zach Lyons, we've got a lot of the usuals, and Stoney Keeley hanging out in the F&M Bank chat. I guess we'd be remiss, Moan, not to send a congratulations to Stoney, who is joining the 1045 The Zone team as a co-host on Titans Talkback.
Let's go.
Reacting to every Titans game right here after Network post-game on Titans Radio, alongside Zach Lyons and Kevin Dyson. That will be your Titans Talkback team this year. It's going to be good, fun reaction for really the rest of your entire afternoon after the Titans wrap up and or evening.
Hey, congratulations, Stoney, man. Stoney's such a cool dude, man. He hit me up yesterday, man. We chatted for just a little bit. He was excited about the Dan Moore interview I did, and I love the fact that Stoney's there because he can talk about the bigs on the talkback, man, and I know he love them like I do, man. Look at us, adding people and not losing folks these days.
Man, nobody nobody loves a deep-cut offensive lineman conversation more than Stoney Keeley. Maybe you.
Yeah.
And Stoney Keeley. So that's going to be great during the preseason and throughout the course of the regular season. By the way, pregame, the Elite Company countdown to kickoff will be Brent Doherty, Blaine Bishop, and Buck Rising. So you can mute the Buck parts, listen to Brent and Blaine talk ball, and then that'll lead into, obviously, Titans Countdown, Titans Kickoff with Taylor Zarzer and Dave McGinnis. And football, it's not coming. It's here. Football season is here. We're here to watch practice, and there's a lot to talk about as Ron Slay will be here coming up in hour 4. But first, Ramon, offensive line progress. We played your interview with Dan Moore Jr. You can go back and watch it on 104.5 The Zone's YouTube page. If you haven't seen it yet, be sure to subscribe while you're there. And in terms of the tackle spots, we know who the starters are, obviously, left and right side. The discussion is about that third tackle, the swing tackle. And over the course of the last couple of days, it's turned into a trend where John Ojukwu has started with the twos at right tackle, and we've seen Jalen Duncan with the twos, at left tackle. Where does that battle for the swing tackle kind of stand for you right now as Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon is another guy trying to throw his name in the ring?
The best scenario you can ever have as a coach, specifically somebody that's built like Coach Bill Callahan, man, that's got guys that you truly believe in. Oli Udoh's another one of those guys that's in a position to compete for that position at tackle too. The swings I see, like you said, you bring up John Ojukwu. Absolutely. He's been here for years. You understand what you're getting from him. I'll be honest with you, almost it seems as if they it's almost just like the old house you can always go to and just catch a nap in. Like, I'm always go to Savage House and be able to catch a nap. Like, I can always just pull up. That's how I feels like John Njoku is. He's got to make that stop. But some guys make careers after being backups like that. The guy I think that has the most potential to do it, and I think this fan base has been asking for him. I know the old regime did too, and I think Coach Bill Callahan also is Jalen Duncan. Jalen Duncan with the twos, to me, I feel like has shown himself in the first 2 days of pass better than he ever has since he's been here over the last 3 years. I feel like that jump of being a pro now is there with him. Probably the embarrassment of them bringing somebody else in and Dan Moore and also moving over J.C. Latham. I'm looking at Jalen Duncan to emerge as the guy, and this time I'm hoping we see him play with that level of intensity that he needs to, because to be quite honest, in my personal opinion, I felt like his ability to just give up, not finish, show way too often. And it's maybe because of injuries, I don't know. But I didn't like what I saw. If that was one of my young guys, we'd probably be on his head about like, bro, what the heck are you doing? That type of mindset. But as of late, the last few days in his one-on-ones, his team play, and everything that you've asked him to do, he's been the model citizen. You bring up Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon, a guy. I'm telling you, I think he can be a hidden gem on this offensive line, man. If you're looking for depth, his ability to start is going to be on his opportunities and what he do with them. But from what I've seen with him, with the guys he's going up against, the 2s and 3s, he's held his own. But to get to the original answer, I think Jalen Duncan's probably leading the charge on this one so far.
How much value do you place in that second offseason or second training camp with an offensive line coach? Like for you, when Mike Munchak came in and took over, how much more well-versed were you in just his language, his way of doing things in your second training camp with him as your O-line coach?
Way better. Because the first part of it, he changed so much. That's what happened with this group last year. All the stuff that they're doing with Big Bertha and everybody else, man, that he's got in there with these O-line twos. I'm trying to learn his terminology. I'm trying to learn his technique. I'm trying to learn him. I'm trying to learn what he's taught the guy to the left and right of me to do also. That's why it's such an important thing to keep these guys healthy for 17 games with their sports medicine program that they have right now here at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. It's that part of it, Lucas, to where if you're around each other, you hear each other talk, and the expectation of what you want from me in year 1 and year 2, Lucas, I was exponentially better in year 2 under Coach Munchak, man, because he had me and what he wanted out of myself, and on top of that, the ability to understand his expectation. That is so huge for him. So seeing Jalen Duncan have that understanding, you see the difference is what I'm saying. Like, maybe it's the contract. I don't know what it is, or the idea that I can actually be cut. Year 1 for him was like, welcome to the league. Year 2 was like, well, we got no choice. This year, there's real competition in that room that put pressure on guys to perform in these type of moments. That is a huge part of it, which is why they spoke this all offseason about facilitating quality guys that have played reps in this league to challenge and make this team better. I don't know how much the level of play is going to raise up, but I do feel like with the guys they have in training camp, it's risen for sure.
Cam Ward will be back on the practice field today after the mid-practice, as he described on Wednesday. That's made the rounds, by the way. Like, that's been everywhere on NFL Network, Sports Talk, Mike Florio talking about the quarterback use. I don't know if we've seen a starting quarterback using that word. We're more and more Gen Z quarterbacks getting into the NFL, so we're seeing that a lot more. We were talking earlier about some of the progress we want to see from Ward today in terms of shoring up the tip balls at the line of scrimmage. That plagued him a little bit on Wednesday. How about what you've seen from Ward down the sideline with the deep ball? Do you feel like, to me, it's felt like that's been a little bit hit or miss. When it's on, it's on. And we saw it the other day with Ridley on Wednesday. One of his first big throws of the day was threaded deep down the left side, the toe tap, my guy or nobody. Yep. But there's been times, too, where that ball has carried receivers a little wide and out of bounds, right? Unable to get those 2 feet in that you need in the NFL. Would you like to see a little more consistency on those sideline balls from Cam?
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing about it, though, too, is context to be added. I feel like he's in a position, if he's overthrowing them, you got to fix that. But if they're using the defense, using the sideline as a defender, I'd much rather him throw it over and get another rep the next time around. That, to me, is football smarts 101. I saw some stuff we're embargoed to not talk about. But what I'm saying in those moments along the sideline is either his guys or no guys. And if it's not his guy, you're probably going to see it go out of bounds. And that's a smart quarterback as it pertains to not not getting the defender, the sideline plus himself plus a safety over the top that he can tip it back into and get an interception on, man. But when he's got guys beat or his receivers got guys beat, Lucas, that touch, that feel, or the other part of it that's not mentioned enough, he does throw a ball that's in the air that you have the ability to get a DPI on. If he's giving his wide receivers the ability to come back into the DB to get a DPI, that's a spot foul. That, to me, when I'm blocking up front, is as good as a catch. I don't care about the run after. If you're telling me he's throwing the ball 25 yards down the field and he's got the ability to get us 25 yards because of a DB being flagrant, I'll take that too. He does have that touch, though. I like that from him.
We're going to take a step around the AFC South coming up next and play progress or regress, going through every AFC South team, determining what's more likely, that they take a step forward or a step backward from what they did in 2024, including the Titans. We'll do that next on 104.5 The Zone. can say at this point that the AFC South is a good division. But I also don't think you can say it's not an interesting one in 2025. People might scoff at that right out of the gate. But hear us out here as we get ready to play a little game with this Titans, Colts, Texans, Jags division. We are broadcasting live at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Titans practice getting ready to start. Brian Callahan will speak at the end of the hour. I'm Lucas Panzica in for Will this morning alongside Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins back at the station. Glad to have you with us. We are brewed by Scooter's Coffee. There's a number one pick at quarterback in this division. There's one of the most interesting prospects in NFL history in this division, in Travis Hunter. There's a quarterback competition happening in this division. Those don't really happen that much in the NFL these days.
No, not like this, where it's this young, this new, and in the exact same era. There's usually one, maybe two. Get my SPs together. Specifically at the quarterback position, right? You'll have Peyton Manning or Ben or Tom and. Think about who Tom had to face in the AFC East. It was Tom Brady is the way you look at that. This one, you have four legitimate, young studs that could turn themselves, all very high draft picks, too. Yep. C.J. Stroud, Cam Ward. We're looking at Trevor Lawrence. Think about the divisions of guys that you're playing. Anthony Richardson is a top 5 pick, too.
All top 5 picks.
Lucas, if these guys, P-word, potential, actually hit, can the AFC South rule football at this point?
I don't know.
Think about that. If the quarterback position is the best position, and if these guys hit their draft picks, you got 1, you got a 2, you got a 5, and another 1. There's no other division with that right now, Lucas.
There's not, but it's too big of an if right now with what we have seen from these quarterbacks.
That is very true, too.
And so you also have a team that's trying to take the next step into contention in the Houston Texans that took a step back last year, still won a playoff game, and still got to the divisional round. So at this moment in time, it's not a good division. You're right. It is a potential division with the amount of young, highly drafted quarterbacks. It's also an interesting division. So let's play progress or regress. We'll kind of state the situation for each team, their record last year, some of the other variables heading into this season, and you tell me, do you think they take a step forward in record or a step back? Starting with the Houston Texans, back-to-back years, AFC South champs, 10-7 last year, routed the Chargers in the wild card round, lost the divisional round at the Chiefs, fired Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator, replaced him with Nick Caley. Offensive line revamped. Laramie Tunsil's out the door, but they bring in the likes of Cam Robinson, who's played in this division before, Laken Tomlinson, trying to shore up that unit that really struggled, really contributed to C.J. Stroud's sophomore slump. Progress or regress? The Houston Texans going from a 10-7 season in 2024.
I'm going to go regress. I'll say regress, but I still think they win a division. Is that fair to say?
Oh, man, it's fair to say, but that means we're in for a tough year in the AFC South.
Yeah, and that's the way I look at it. And specifically for them, they're playing the first-place schedule considering they won the AFC South last year. Their schedule is not nice to them. At the Rams, which we think a lot about what they can be moving forward this year, too. They got Tampa on that schedule. Jacksonville, I think, is the reason why I'm pulling them back this year. I feel like with Liam Cohen, they're going to be in a position to where they make Trevor Lawrence better because of the offense and the weapons they have, too. And they got Brian Thomas Jr. down there and a cast of running backs, and they're trying to reshape and reshift that offensive line. Because of what the Jags, I think, turn into, I think they may lose a game more this year. They may be, 9-8 this year instead of 10-7. So I see them regressing. I don't know if they're going to compete well against the Bills, the Ravens, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Colts. They got teams that you feel like are going to be better this year than what they showed last year. Considering also, Lucas, they lost Laramie Tunsil for what it's worth. They got Cam Robinson right now. I get all of that too. But losing Laramie Tunsil is challenging. What's the best part about what I think Houston have going for them, to be quite honest with you, it's the defense. That defense is filthy. With the cast of characters that they have there, with the cast of stars that they have over there on that side of the ball, Lucas, just on the cornerback side of things right now, man, you got Kamari Lassiter and also Derek Stingley Jr. Name me a better young combo in the league when it comes down to those two positions right there. And then do we even have to mention the rushers? The pass rush, we don't even have to mention them at this point. And that's what I'm saying. They got depth behind depth on top of depth of guys that are going to make the 53-man roster.
I agree with you. Even besides the regular season of 10-7, they could have a better regular season than 10-7 and still regress, because regressing would mean not making the divisional round, right?
Yeah.
Progressing, taking a step forward for the Texans would mean either being in the final 8 or final 4 of the NFL in 2025. So I think I lean with you on that. I'm so fascinated to see what happens with C.J. Stroud this year. Yeah. And that running back room, which also tons of pass rushers in Houston, tons of running backs in Houston, Moan. They just drafted somebody in a room that already has Dameon Pierce, who we haven't seen him live up to what he flashed as a rookie. He's still in that room. Joe Mixon is in that room after a 1,000-yard season last year. And then they bring in Nick Chubb.
Come on, man.
Who figures to be RB1 with Joe Mixon going through a training camp injury right now. Could miss the early portion of the season. Titans, by the way, play the Texans in week 4. So what Nick Chubb has coming off yet another injury-plagued season at this stage of his career will be fascinating for the Texans' backfield. I think I agree with you. Regress for the Houston Texans.
Yep.
If they regress, then it could make for, again, a fascinating year for this division. But a division champ at 9-8, again, means not a very good division.
That's very true.
But it could mean a competitive one.
I'm thinking competitive more than anything. I'm thinking that the teams that were really bad are going to try to close the gap just a little bit.
Which I'm a sicko. Like, I love a division champ coming out at 8-9. I love that. Like, give me that all day. Don't mess with NFL playoff seeding. It's perfect the way it is. We'll see if that's how it works out with the AFC South this year, as the Colts are trying to progress from an 8-9 season last year. And I do have to step back and kind of think about the coaching job Shane Steichen did last year of being right around 500 in that playoff picture throughout the course of the season, with the ups and downs, mostly downs, with Anthony Richardson and at the quarterback spot last year. Taking a playoff, the controversy around, just hasn't been smooth sailing whatsoever. And now here he is competing with Daniel Jones. Titans play the Colts in week 3, by the way.
Right.
I think Richardson's already ahead of where we thought he'd be at this point in camp, because I didn't think he'd be available in camp.
I didn't either. That to me is their biggest hurdle getting over, is watching him grow up more than anything. And all the reports out, and of course their local beat writers or folks that are telling a good story. He seems to be, Anthony Richardson, on the right pathway right now. He's getting the offense down. They got weapons, Lucas, when it comes down to it, man. Downs, what's his first name?
Josh Downs.
Josh Downs is probably one of the more dynamic weapons around the NFL, and they seem to have plans for him moving forward, man. I look at this situation for them. I think they get better. I think they progress. I do. Defensively, they got the pieces in place. If Anthony Richardson gets on track and just hits his layups when it comes down to it, they got the running back for it, and their offensive line, man, according to PFF, all of them are in the green or teetering towards that pathway. They got a good mix of old and young, and the guys up front, and not even just mentioning Tyler Warren this year, too, at the tight end position that they drafted. A weapon. So I'm saying progress this year, Lucas, for them.
Shane Steichen had this to say yesterday about Anthony Richardson. Quote, "I think everything's cleaner right now. He's playing at a high level. He's making good decisions with the football, taking the completions when needed. So it's been really good to see." Colts have to replace Will Fries, who's in Minnesota on a 5-year, $88 million deal. Ryan Kelly, who's also in Minnesota, former Colts center, 2-year, $18 million deal with the Vikings. Lou Anarumo hired as the defensive coordinator. A lot of tweaks and changes made in Indy.
Different right there. Lou, I respect the heck out of Lou Anarumo, especially having seen all the stuff that he did in Cincinnati. The Titans are going to get lit up. He's going to send that corner slot. The old Mike Hilton tipped Ryan Tannehill interception. That's Lou Anarumo right there. That's the style of defense that you're going to see. And Leatu Latu being in his second year is very motivated in the conversation I've seen him have this offseason with how he felt his rookie year went. This division, I feel like, is starting to bubble with the young talent that they have in place at almost every position. Will Anderson Jr., think about that. Leatu Latu in the same division, on top of having friggin' Josh Hines Allen as a doggone rusher in this league. We ain't even mentioned the beat players on the other side of it. So I'm looking at this young talent in this division, Lucas. You mentioned 9-8 winning the division. That ain't far-fetched. Like, that's not a bad division, in my opinion, if these guys take that next step. The Colts being a part of that, too. I mean, Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner up the middle. I mean, that's twice a year for teams in this division. That's saying a lot about where they are. It's a matter of these young quarterbacks dragging everybody else to the finish line.
What is a better situation Well, I'll have to rephrase the question because the best situation for Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard is Anthony Richardson blossoming, right? And showing what you thought you had when you drafted him with a top 5 pick. But I guess the better question is, if you are Shane Steichen or Chris Ballard, for your job security, what's a better scenario? Daniel Jones leads you to a 9-8 kind of season. You sneak into the playoffs and maybe flame out because Daniel Jones was able to keep your head above the water and Richardson got hurt again and it just continued down that path. Or a worse record, let's say a 7-10 and miss the playoffs, but Anthony Richardson takes a leap that he hasn't taken yet and does show you something and has you feeling better about him at the end of the year.
Oh, that's a sticky situation, Lucas.
For their job security.
For their job security. God, dog, Lucas.
Because you can find yourself at the end of that Daniel Jones season thinking, okay, now do we give Daniel Jones a long-term deal?
I know.
What do we do here?
The best bet is it has to be Anthony Richardson. It has to be because you're not entitled to give him that 5th-year option just yet also. So if Coach Shane Steichen can do it again with Anthony Richardson and progress better to a better winning record, I think you keep the band together, especially if he finally gets what he needs out of him. You got to think about the situation that he had last year. Joe Flacco was easy to go to for the Colts. I mean, let's just be honest about this one. I don't know if Daniel Jones is the guy that you say, yeah, he's exponentially better than him. I don't think that's the case. So if you see a better Anthony Richardson, you're a whole lot better as a coach if you get the good out of him.
So we're going progress with the Colts from 8-9 last season.
Progress, yes.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, 4-13 last year. For me, tell me if you disagree, the most interesting team in this division, as Liam Cohen's hired as head coach, trying to bring Trevor Lawrence just somewhere close to that billing that was placed on him as a prospect. And obviously the Travis Hunter storyline, which is among the most fascinating in the NFL. The weapons around Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter and just what that looks like with Hunter, who's getting reps on defense, playing a lot of offense. Progress or regress, Jacksonville from a 4-13 season?
Progress. It's easy to say because Liam Cohen's supposed to be the play caller. As you know why, on a side note of why it's got to work and will work, as weird as their introduction conversations were for the Jaguars, you're not that weird if you don't make it work, Lucas. I'm just sorry. The stuff that we had to do.
So should we be on alert?
Hell yeah, Lucas. You think about it, man. It's like seeing a very pretty girl with an ugly dude. You're thinking to yourself, yeah, there's a reason why.
Duval.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
talking about what was the rant that James Gladstone, the Jags GM, went on of the SAT words on the Travis Hunter and oh man, I got to go back and find it because I reminded of Nick Sirianni and his kind of like zany, like strange introductory press. Like, who's this guy? Nick Sirianni, Super Bowl champion. So you're saying we should be on high alert for the weird ones.
And to be fair, too, what is their GM name? I'm looking.
Gladstone.
Yeah,
James Gladstone.
James Gladstone. Here's what I would say on a serious note on him. I've talked to people that have been around him in different circles. Every single person has said this about James Gladstone. Do not let the look fool you. Don't let his conversation fool you. This guy knows what he's doing. He may not be a football player, and he's never going to claim to be one. But as it pertains to being strategic and how to get a team together, he checks that box. This is from some very respectful people who have said this about this guy. Because I'm like, what is Jacksonville? It's like, whoa. Be careful. They may have the pieces in place. Now, Liam Cohen's got to get his thing together as far as his play calling, his ability to manage what they're going to do with Travis Hunter, Trevor Lawrence, just the whole gambit of players that they have. But this offseason, they also did some of the more important things. They go out and get some guys in free agency as it pertains to their offensive line. That played a huge part in it, though, too, Lucas. They're trying to protect their biggest asset, and that's Trevor Lawrence. And on top of that, man, with ETN in the contract year himself trying to figure out what's going to be his next pathway, you look at what's, of course, Brian Thomas Jr., and I think offensively it's probably going to be the best pathway to success for Travis Hunter. Them two dudes in general can be headaches. You know, and that's where they are as a squad. I'm going progress, to be quite honest with you, because it's bad. The division wasn't bad. These teams won 8 games and all this type of stuff last year. I see them stepping in a different direction, Lucas.
James Gladstone in his mid-30s, looks like he's in his early 20s, saying things like Travis Hunter embodies belief. That wasn't even the weirdest thing.
I know, that was corny, but
I got to go back and find it. 3HL was playing it a bunch, I remember, and it was but watch out for the weird ones.
Watch out. I'm telling you. Think, Lucas, got a guy. Okay, we see a very pretty girl with a guy, and you like, how in the hell? It's probably his bank account or something else. Okay, it's something there. Okay, it ain't just the looks, is what I'm telling you. And those dudes, man, that are that type of quirky, they have the ability sometimes to just be weird but great. I don't know what it is, but it better work as weird as it was, is what I'm saying.
And then we come to the Tennessee Titans. 3-14, Cam Ward's rookie season, building this thing out in a way that is night and day different from last year. Away from the sugar rush of big offseason moves and free agency, trying to build a team, trying to flash cook a competitive football team, right? For lack of a better phrase.
I like that one.
To build this thing out long term to where even the discourse coming from the team is night and day different, right?
Yeah.
Where Chad Brinker and he and Mike Borgonzi's introductory presser before or on report day before the first day of practice, Chad Brinker is saying, we know there's not a lot of stars on this team, right? Like that, the kind of the honesty there. Progress or regress?
Theirs is a little bit more sicky, and it's probably because we're too close to the sun on this one. I want to say progress, just based upon Lucas, the bigs, how all of this comes together as far as the wide receivers and Cam, specifically Cam. The Titans had a disadvantage on this progress regress side because they have a rookie quarterback on a team that, like you said a second ago, the front office has acknowledged the roster isn't the most talented. We're talking about guys on Houston and what Indy and Jacksonville have that the Titans don't have in abundance, right? You look at a guy like Jones, who was brought in this year, or you hope that Tavondre can be a little bit better. You hope that James Williams is going to take that step. You know what I'm saying? Or all the good fortune that we've seen Cody Barton have. Will that actually translate over into a game, or is he great at camp practices? I'm not saying that's the case, but those are the questions that we, because we see it, got to ask. Because the history has also shown that, like, the times where it's been good, it's never just been good enough. I'll say this. I think this group progresses also. There's only been one pullback, and it's hard being king of the hill, Houston. I'm not saying you're not going to win a division, but to your point, they made it to the playoffs last year. How far do they go into the playoffs with this new offensive coordinator? The other part of that, too, as you brought it up, C.J. Stroud helped pick this new OC, or at least they consulted in him.
Nick Caley.
He essentially didn't like the last guy. And now this is his. He has to prove that to be right. And there's a lot of pressure in that for a young guy, too. I go Titans progress this year.
For the sake of our sanity, Moan, let's hope. So we're going Texans regress from 10-7 into divisional round loss in the playoffs. Colts progress from 8-9. Jags progress from 4-13. Titans progress from 3-14. All right. Going to be an interesting year.
You cool with that?
I'm cool with it. I got no qualms. Going to be an interesting year in the AFC South. Brian Callahan is going to speak at the end of the hour, so as we await the head coach at the podium, media starting to assemble downstairs at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Cloud cover here at the Titans facility, a respite from the heat that we have had over the last few days, and they will be on the practice field in just about an hour, maybe a little less. We had football on TV last night. The Hall of Fame game, what did we take away from it? The Hall of Fame class that we saw celebrated yesterday. We'll talk about it next on 104.5 The Zone.
Travis Hunter, he embodies belief. Yeah. Right? He's a rare person. He's a rare player. But he's also a reminder that the boundaries of the game of football were built to be challenged.
Duval.
Good job, good job.
It's Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls. Good people, I'll be honest with y'all. It's about time for me to give them a ring and have them come over to the house for some IV treatment myself. This week has been busy, but here's what Medical House Calls does for you. One, you can go to the website at medicalhousecalls.com. You can also text or call this number, 615-838-2375, to set up an appointment. It's not just IV therapy. It's primary health care, too. It's urgent care. It's medical weight loss. So if you want an in-house visit, when the nurses come to your door, they're going to figure out what you want and how you want to go about doing it too. And the best part is, Appointments, they will fit in your schedule. You don't have to go to the ER and wait and sit and be amongst people that you probably feel have way too many germs. You don't want to put yourself in that environment. That's what they do. The pricing is always upfront and transparent and not confusing. You can also use your HSA and FSA cards just like any other doctor's appointment too. And the at-home urgent care, it offers expert medical care without the waiting. Everything from sicknesses, infections, injuries, and home labs, testing, and more. Get your doctor's appointment on your schedule in the comforts of your own home or if your office if you want to. Also, man, the website is medicalhousecalls.com, or you can call or text the phone number 615-838-2375.
Brian Callahan meets with Titans media in 10 minutes. We'll carry it for you live right here on The Zone. This is Ramon and Will. Lucas in for Will this morning alongside Ramon Foster. Fueled by Scooters Coffee. Visit a locally owned location near you. Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. So before we get to the Titans head coach and before practice begins here at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park on a beautiful Friday. Hope you're having a good one and a good start to it. If you're listening and along for the ride with us today, we had football last night, and the LA Chargers looked about as good as you could look in a preseason game.
Yeah, they did.
In the Hall of Fame game, in a blowout win over the Detroit Lions, 34-7. Trey Lance was the story. 13 of 20, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hendon Hooker, not very complimentary of his own performance, and we'll get to his quote here in a moment. Turnovers plagued the Lions all night. Better football team in 2025, Chargers or Lions?
Chargers. Chargers. Way too much change going on with what Detroit's got going on. They got a lot of great bones on that team, man. Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Penei Sewell, you name them. Aiden Hutchinson is supposed to be that much better. Their division's gotten a whole lot harder is the way I'm looking at it, and I know everybody's saying, like, well, the Chargers got to go up against the monster, the boogeyman himself in Kansas City. But watching the style of ball that Jim Harbaugh is going to have the Chargers playing, it's going to be physical. I think they're going to challenge. I don't know how much it's going to go. They're going to challenge Kansas City, man, because of the physicality. You saw it last night, man, on how they were just they were like bees on honey, man. Like they were on it last night, even in a preseason game, man. So I'd say the Chargers take a jump this year.
Here's the quote from Hendon Hooker after his performance. He did not start. Kyle Allen got the start for Detroit. Went 9 of 14, 91 yards, threw 2 picks. Hooker, not too much better in the second half, 3 of 6 for 18 yards and 1 interception. He was sacked twice. Hendon, after the game, said, quote, I wish we had practice tomorrow. I'm just very disappointed in myself as far as, like I was saying earlier, just leading the troops down the field and making more plays. Taking care of the ball is something huge that we preach on, and we didn't do that today. We had multiple turnovers, which is not in our character to do. We've taken care of the ball really well over this camp, and that's what we plan to do. So our expectations were not met in that regard, nor in the regard of making plays.
Yeah, and of course, looking at the situation he was presented with, the second half quarterback also, you don't make any qualms about the cast of guys that you got to play with. I understand he's with the 3s, 4s, and probably the 5s too, but as he said, he's got to take care of the ball in those moments also. And the other side, the player side for him, I'm sure him watching, what's his name, Allen, the guy that was in front of him last night in the game.
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen.
Yeah.
I'm sure him watching Kyle Allen, Lucas, throw those 2 picks, he was salivating, ready to go make plays himself, and then he fumbled the ball. I mean, not fumbled the ball, but like dropped the ball as it pertains to his like performance. That's got to suck. I've seen guys be in those positions before where you're waiting on your opportunity to shine. That's what Hendon's speaking of right there is he knew he had the ultimate opportunity to upstage him and dropped it. That's Kyle Allen presented an open door for him, and he didn't run through it.
So Lions fans may not be feeling great about their backup quarterback situation. Obviously, Jared Goff, we did not see him yesterday. Meanwhile, Chargers fans have to have some optimism as this Chargers team looks like it is built in the image of what Jim Harbaugh wants the football team to look like, much more so than last year.
It is. The running backs, the way the offensive line was playing up front, too, that's just Michigan football 2.0 is what this is at this point. And he's got his back and Hassan Haskins around him, too, right now. But they went down the field, man. The young prospect out of Auburn.
Amarian Hampton. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the rookie running back.
Yeah, no, Amarian Hampton, the reps that he got, looked the part. I mentioned it earlier.
You're talking about Keandre Lambert-Smith.
Yes, KLS is what they were calling him, out of Auburn, 5th-round draft pick. He looks the part as a young wide receiver, but the guy that made all that look good, Trey Lance. It was good to see, man, and that's why we had our guy Levis Lover call in earlier. That's why their attachment to the second tread or the second opportunity that guys are given is such a big thing. Like I said before, the idea of what Sam Darnold has done has, I think, opened the eyes to a lot of coaches. I mean, we're looking at Joe Flacco still getting an opportunity right now just because of the roles that he's playing. Kenny Pickett's another one of those guys that's in that role, man. So those guys, I don't think, go out of the league anymore. Teams are willing to put resources and time into them to make them better, and it may end up meaning a second career for a guy like Trey Lance for a team that probably bombs out on a early draft pick at quarterback. He was that good to me last night. I thought.
He was excellent. He was excellent. He was ready for the moment last night for sure. And again, for what it's worth, the Hall of Fame game, a preseason game. But Trey Lance, he's the backup quarterback there, right? I mean, he's on that kind of money, 1 year up to $6 million. That's backup quarterback money, and they're going to try to tap into that upside. And it's certainly a far cry from some of the dreadful preseason performances that we saw from him last year in Dallas. Fantastic Hall of Fame class celebrated last night in Canton. Sterling Shepard, Antonio Gates, Jared Allen. I mean, it's a little bit redundant to say fantastic Hall of Fame classes. Right. These are all-time legends of pro football. Jared Allen, guessing you had to game plan for him a time or two.
Yeah, we shared a stage, man, on the London game. He was the ambassador, and I was too, man. We were doing demonstrations and stuff like that on stage. Super cool dude, man. Easy to talk to. You can tell he's a really good teammate. I was with him. I was going up against him when a young Daniil Hunter was on that squad and stuff too. Like, he's been a dog, man. You had to watch him every single play. One of the weirdest numbers ever for a defensive lineman. Like, you're supposed to be over here with us with that 69 on. But a dude, man, every single play was going to be a rep off. Treated himself right and played the game the right way, man. For him to come out of Minnesota with a team that didn't win big, Minnesota with him in his era did not win big. So it says a lot about the type of player that he was, man. I was looking at him going to the hall last night. I shared a field with two of those guys. Antonio Gates been another. Watching him play, man.
Only Hall of Famer to not play college football.
Nuts, man. That's mind-blowing to me. And he spoke about why coaches love the multi-sport athlete, too. He was like, man, my skills in basketball showed me how to block out and really size guys off. That's helped him, with those touchdowns that he got over the course of his career. I like seeing this. I'm very abrasive about how the NFL goes about putting guys in. NFL's Hall of Fame is one of the hardest to get in. I think there's so many other guys that deserve to be in, but seeing these guys get in like this was huge. And, of course, Sterling Sharp, Shannon Sharp's brother, the first brother duo to get in, that's monumental, man. I'm not the biggest Shannon Sharp fan at all, but I can acknowledge that that's some cool, very cool stuff for you and your brother being in the Hall of Fame. The biggest Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
Only duo of brothers that can say that. Sterling Sharp, someone like me, right, that wasn't, around football conscious to really watch Sterling Sharp's career.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of it.
Sure, yeah, and it's jarring to look back and see just how short it was.
Yeah,
before the neck injury, 71 of 6 players to make the Hall of Fame. That's right, that Terrell Davis category of elite, 3-time first team, All-Pro, a Triple Crown winner. Yeah, Sterling Sharp, NFL legend. Great class yesterday that was celebrated in Canton, and just so good to have football. Mo, we got a fumble on the opening kickoff by a linebacker fielding it. We had our first doink of 2025.
From Dicker the kicker.
From Dick, the first doink hits hard. Like that thing. I felt something in my living room. I was like, oh yeah, we're back, baby.
And Collinsworth did it to him again. Did you hear Tarico? You just got a way of just messing stuff up. No, Tarico told him, like, you just do this every time. He's like, I'm getting it out the way right now. Did you also, somebody brought up to us, they was talking about it last night, but the, I'm not sure what they're calling, but the AI line of scrimmage that they're also incorporating. Right. They had a run of that last night, too, during the game, which I'm sure a lot of bettors are going to love that side of it. Is it a first down or not when you got to close out a game and get your final bet?
Titans will be on the practice field shortly, but before, Brian Callahan will meet with the media. We will hear from the head coach downstairs at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park next on 104.5 The Zone. Final hour, Ramon and Will on 104.5 The Zone. Lucas Panzica filling in this morning, along with Ramon Foster, getting ready to watch Titans practice at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. And we'll see what the energy's like today. The heat not bearing down as much. See if there's some juice on a practice that was scheduled only a couple days ago. It was not on the initial training camp schedule. Brian Callahan is downstairs at the podium. He has begun his press conference. Justin, I will await your green light when you have it up on your end as the head coach previews another practice, another chance for Cam Ward to bounce back. An up and down start to training camp, I think we'd say. Defense making plays. The linebacker core has flashed, particularly Cody Barton. And Cam Ward, of course, will be the focus once again. And Brian Callahan, I'm sure, will field questions about what he saw from his quarterback on Wednesday. What's the number one thing you want to see from Cam Ward this morning before we hear from the head coach?
Finish practice strong. No turnovers.
No turnovers.
No turnovers. No, absolutely not. Not today.
Went from 3 to 1 on Wednesday. See if you can get down to 0.
Get down, yep.
We've got Brian Callahan live downstairs at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park.
It's going to be, I know what we need to get to go be able to compete early in the season, and felt like another padded practice was in the cards. And so our flexibility with the schedule allows us to add it, and I'm excited to get out here and grind a little bit today. With that, I'll let you guys go ahead.
When you've talked obviously about throwing a lot at Cam and focusing on the long-term development that'll help him. In the short term, do you have to be concerned at all with if he might get frustrated at, he's not used to probably struggling much at all. Do you have to balance that a little bit at all?
There's definitely a balance. I like the frustration part of it to some degree. It gives you a chance to work through it, because I can promise it's going to be frustrating during certain points of the season. That's just the nature of the position. So it's not a negative to me. I think it's a good thing. And we can work through those frustrations, and you can figure out why. What are you frustrated about? What makes this frustrating for you? And how do we head this off when it actually comes for real? So all of these things are really great experiences for Cam from top to bottom. And I think growth comes from struggle, and I think struggle is a good thing. I think for all young players, but we all know what's coming, and we know what it's going to look like, and how hard these NFL seasons are. And I think it's good to callous yourself for that.
He's talked about how much confidence he has that things that have worked for him in the past will continue to work. How do you kind of balance letting him have that trust in himself versus kind of teaching him that some things might not fly at the pro level?
It's just like that. There's certain things that he's used to doing from the college football world, from the field spacing and the coverage styles you see, that really don't translate to this level, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's certainly things that he feels like, I'm used to this particular thing, but it doesn't look the same as I remember it looking. And that's all right. That's just the difference between college football and NFL football. There's the more coverages, more volume, less space. These underneath defenders are so much more experienced. And one of the things that I try to convey to him is that, you got 17 games that's guaranteed for you as an NFL player, and you're going to face 17 of the best inside linebackers and underneath coverage players in the world. And so it frames your reference a little bit more when you understand how good these guys are at recognizing and diagnosing. They're quarterbacks on defense. And so it's good for him. It's a good conversation to have, and it's a good learning experience for him to get through.
Receptive to that so far?
Oh, absolutely.
Kind of learning?
No, he's still learning. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot that we're working through, which is exactly where I would expect him to be at this point. And it's been great. I think he's had fun with it, and we've enjoyed coaching it.
Those interceptions, like right there in the middle of the field, taking out the tip ones. Is it a case where each one has its own particular story, even though it's like in the same area of the field?
Yeah.
Or have you seen him make the same mistake once or twice?
No, they all have their own story, based on route combination and coverage and what he sees and where his eyes are. They're all a little bit different. Tip balls, they happen. Those things, don't get it tipped is the best. I don't have a lot of coaching points for those usually, but they all have their own thing, and that's good. He doesn't repeat mistakes thus far. He's been pretty consistent in that. As we make a correction and he gets that right and moves forward, and you usually don't see it again. So that's that's good. That means we're growing and we're getting better.
He's very unconcerned with the tip balls. I mean, you say they happen, seem to happen more to him. We know his arm slot is his arm slot and stuff, but does he have to be more conscious of that?
I think, all quarterbacks get the ball tipped. I think it happens. These guys up front are pretty good at timing throws and getting their hands in windows. Two of the tip balls really came off RPO looks, which are easy to coach off of. It's a little bit different pocket, and when you're blocking for a run and reading a pass, the rush can get a little bit closer than normal. So those are things we're coaching and working through. I don't, at this point, no sense to be alarmed by any tip balls at this point. It's kind of part of playing quarterback.
You've talked a lot about Cody Barton, and what are you seeing from other guys competing next to him?
Really good things from James Williams. He's shown up. This padded portion is important for him. He started to read and react and be more physical inside, which has been good to see. I think Cedric Gray's done a really nice job. Anthony Orgy's done really well. So there's good competition there. These guys are coming along. They're doing what's asked, which is what you like to see. And they're starting to make some plays inside. And they go 2 days into pads. We're in a good spot. We keep rolling.
You talked about missing sacks a lot last year. A lot of the guys have talked about that concept of rushing together this year. How do you sort of explain that, and can that help
Yeah, it definitely can help. There's how you deploy your pressure package when you pressure the quarterback. When you 4-man rush is some of the things that we didn't do a good enough job of is just balancing the rush, giving quarterbacks lanes that they didn't need to have. One of the things that you see too is when you're a bigger, heavier front, the idea of trying to crush the pocket and take the tackles and push them back and try to push the front, so everything sort of condenses on a quarterback. They don't really like that from my experiences, and quarterbacks don't respond well to a solid push from the interior. You can deal with edge rushers. You can help on the edge. It's hard to help. Someone's going to get a one-on-one inside, and so that's kind of the key is who gets the one-on-ones and how do we win, and then how do we rush it together where everything's a little more coordinated from that perspective. So again, I don't know that it's going to guarantee more sacks or not, but I think we have a better feel for what we want to do with the players we have.
Brian, following on that, isn't it a little convenient to say you can deal with edge rushers when you're a team without a premier edge rusher? I mean, if you had Jadeveon if you had the guy from Cleveland, you wouldn't be saying you can deal with edge rushers.
Yeah, there's some of them that you can't fully deal with. They're game-wrecking style rushers. There's only a couple of those. Well, absolutely. I'd love one. You'd love to have a Myles Garrett or a TJ Watt or those guys. Those guys are incredibly impactful players. But there's a lot of different ways and a lot of different styles of player in the league that rush the passer. So we like where we're at. Certainly, if you had a, number 1 overall pick pass rusher, that's great too. But you can help on the edges a little more than you can help necessarily inside. You can chip presence. You can put backs on them. There's always ways to try to neutralize a great player. Now, the great players tend to overcome those things too. So I'm not saying you can just eliminate a great player, but quarterbacks generally tend to feel a little bit better about being able to help on the edges and managing edge rush. And you want to try to see if you can't collapse the whole thing in front of them is the idea. It's not a new idea, certainly. I'm not preaching anything that hasn't been coached in this league before, but that's one of the things I think that'll help us.
Brian, what's the balancing act for you? There's the urgency to get ready for the season and show improvement from last year versus being patient with Cam while he learns and, is going to make his share of mistakes.
Yeah, I don't think the urgency changes. We're incredibly urgent. We know that these days just sort of tick by, and you look up and you're 2 weeks from the opener. And there's a lot of things that we got to get better at between now and then. A lot of practice that's still left, but it's not as much as it feels like sometimes. And you look up and it's August 1st, and you play in early September. You feel like, there's a couple of weeks, but it goes really fast. So our urgency is very high, and our urgency to correct mistakes is also very high. So there's a patience part, but we're trying to get everything ironed out as fast as humanly possible. So when we're ready to go play, particularly the first month of the season, we feel like we're in a good spot. So patience is part of it, but our urgency sort of supersedes that. We're trying to correct and get to a point where we can play good football as fast as possible.
Maybe along those lines, Brian, like when you said that you felt like an extra padded practice was in the cards, is that a result of something maybe you haven't seen through the first couple of padded practices that you need to see more of?
No, it's just the work. We just need more padded work at this point, especially, again, when we're a week away from going against another team. Felt like it was probably the right decision for us just to get another practice in pads. It won't be as long as some of our normal long padded practices, but to put the pads on and get another day worth of banging in there, I think is going to be good for us.
How do you justify the passion, the urgency that you've seen from these guys day to day?
Oh, they've been incredibly urgent. Our competition in practice has been high level. The urgency in the meeting rooms, the urgency on the field, it's been super competitive. Those things I've been very pleased with.
Obviously, you guys have personnel conversations, but what's the dialogue like with you and Mike and Chad when you guys have the first waiver claim, but you see?
We have lost signal.
All right. So, just in time for Buck's question. Good stuff. That is Titans head coach Brian Callahan.
That was right on time for a Buck question.
There wasn't any, they're just saving us some time
Buck
there.
around and find out.
The Titan stream. It's like, all right. Everett down there said one more question. Titan stream said no more questions. So that's Brian Callahan.
So on brand, man.
Talking before practice. That worked out beautifully. So in terms of adding this practice late, just needed more padded work. That's how he's putting it, right? Especially a week before joint practice with the Bucs. Said he won't be as long as they usually are. So we'll see. Maybe close to 10:30, 10:20. They'll be wrapping up around here. Any other takeaways from the Titans head coach?
Hearing him speak about his response to the question about the protection of the quarterback and how the defense wants to rush opposing quarterbacks by collapsing the middle, I thought that was super unique, man, and hearing his response to it, because essentially, I think it's Paul Gaharski that asked that question. Essentially what Coach Callahan was saying is when PK said, well, if you had a Jadeveon Clowney or Myles Garrett, you would. It's like, well, we don't have that guy. Because we don't have that guy, our ability to rush the quarterback up the middle, because that makes them way more uncomfortable, because DNs sometimes there's a lower hit rate on trying to get a sack on guys like that, because you can run them around the quarterback. And as long as the quarterback can step up in the pocket, he's comfortable. More times than not, like guys will be in the center and guard space, and you'll see a quarterback put his hand on the back of the guard or center in a particular situation because he's comfortable, because the pocket's not collapsing on him. So that was the right answer I felt like to give in that moment right there, man, is just to let you know what their philosophies are moving forward. That was a good answer by Coach Callahan on understanding this defense doesn't have a blazer off the edge. I do want to know, though, too, for future references, will they try to go get a guy in the draft one year that's a rush, a Laiatu Latu, the way the Colts went and grabbed somebody,
This team still needs pass rushers. There's no doubt about that. So beautifully, the stream skipped over Buck's question and apparently is back live. So let's kick down quickly back to Brian Callahan.
But I've been pleased with the process. And, again, the things that aren't good enough, we're coaching and working on. And I think Cam's in the same boat. And I'm happy that he doesn't feel like we've arrived. We got a lot of work ahead of us still to get ready to go play Denver here in 4 or 5 weeks. And I don't think anybody should feel satisfied about where we're at, but we certainly have some good things going on, and we're going to keep working.
Is energy and juice, is that one of the areas where you feel isn't good enough?
No, I don't feel that at all. I think our team's focused, and I don't know what energy looks like for you guys, but I know what I feel and what I see in the practice portion. Guys compete. We're focused. And there's not a lot of BS going on, and I think that the style of practice and the way these guys work is pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of extra with it, and I like that about our football team.
All right.
Thank you.
There you go. Titans head coach Brian Callahan now is done speaking before practice. We had that discussion a little bit yesterday, the energy, right? I think that was something that Buck was very vocal about. That is flat. There's no juice out here. I don't know if they need a fight or something. Well, last year, the fights are what, felt like it held everything back. And then suddenly, that's all we're talking about, Moan, right? Man. Like, we're just talking about this team needs leadership and how they just weren't able to get this work in. So Callahan echoed, and I don't expect the coach to say, now we're flat out there. I mean, I guess some coaches would say that, but that's how I have been taking it. They're just kind of getting some work in. Like, you know what I mean?
I told you, I didn't think it was flat. I thought it was a well-run practice. Guys got good work in. This fan base has been asking, for guys like specifically Jeff. When is Jeff going to grow up? That's been a constant question on. And here you are now having a guy that's beating guys in practice, and it's physical. They're getting good work. And Jeff's, from the last 2 days we've seen, Lucas, has been talking to those guys. Hey, probably this is how I beat you, or this is what I saw, and this is what you need to adjust to. That's growth to me. That's what I feel like a lot of the fan base has been asking of a guy like him. Hell, I'm pleasantly pleased with what I thought the energy was, because again, I said my point of it was I thought that they were in a position to where the offense, I thought, started fast. The defense is usually loud, rambunctious, and over the top with how they go about doing stuff. Offense wins, it's business as usual is what I felt like it was. The energy was good, I thought. Lucas, fights, I get it, but it just ruins and wastes reps and stuff like that.
And Callahan made it clear to us in his first press conference before that first practice that, yes, it's been communicated that we don't need to be wasting time out here, that there's no time for that BS, as he said. So there you go. And the Titans will be on the field. They are on the field doing stretch at the moment, and we'll see if we get some team drills in during the show.
Have we seen them, Lucas? And I don't think that's the case. We got to go back and look at the pictures. They're wearing the Guardian caps today on helmets.
I haven't noticed Guardian caps. I'm with you.
They haven't. I'm looking at old pictures.
There you go. I saw Peter Skoronski post something on his Instagram, a picture of him doing a drill wearing a Guardian cap. Maybe one or two guys have, but I'm with you. I haven't noticed them so far in camp.
Maybe I haven't been paying good enough attention then, Lucas. That's on me.
It's hard to watch every player and every play in practice. It's tough because you're out here every day and you can have takeaways and you talk about what you saw, and then I'll hear somebody say something else, and I'm like, I didn't see that at all, right? Like, that was a really bad drop by so-and-so. It's like, I wasn't over there. There's a lot going on in an NFL practice, as you know. So
some were, some weren't, is what I'm saying. But It seems to me it was mandatory because Coach said that they want physicality, but they don't want it. It's not going to be as long of a practice today.
Quickly, last thing on Callahan's presser before we move forward. The tip ball is at the line of scrimmage. Yeah. Brian Callahan saying, again, he said if you missed it, he hasn't seen Cam repeat a mistake. Every interception has its own story. They've been pleased with how he's been taking coaching points and adjusting from there. Doesn't mean that there aren't more mistakes to come, but not repeating mistakes is what Callahan said. But as far as the tip balls are concerned, for Callahan, they happen. Don't get it tipped.
He didn't have an answer for it.
He said don't have a lot of coaching points for it, which I was slightly surprised by.
But there isn't, though. Remember, I told you that. That's something that you, when it started happening to us a time or two, Coach just put it on the offensive line. Get their hands down. And how? How do we get how? I don't know. So it literally turned into hand fighting at the line of scrimmage when you stopped your guy, Lucas. To be fair, there's no real way other than don't. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to block Myles Garrett and keep his hands down. It's a tough gig, man.
It's like getting a whooping and saying, you better not cry. I'm supposed to cry. What are you talking about? You better not cry. I just got a whooping. What do you mean?
Well, I think I saw tears on the face of Ron Slay earlier this week when a certain Titans transaction brought a fateful end to a long narrative that Slay had been supporting for the last couple of years. So we're going to talk to Ron Slay. We'll continue to react and narrate Titans practice over the course of the next couple of segments right here on 104.5 The Zone. Wellness check at 9:20 on a Friday. Hope everybody's having a great start to their weekends. We're at least getting you closer to it as the Titans are starting pre-practice warm-ups now. Lucas Panzica with Ramon Foster this morning as Ron Slay joins us from rehab, I understand. Slay, I mean, what is hurting more right now? Is it the physical comeback from your knee, or is it the hole in your heart left by Traylon Burks being waived?
Oh, man, you know what, Pam, man, first and foremost, man, it's okay just because it was out of his control. Like, this was nothing that he was doing out there on the field, and they just couldn't stay healthy. So I'm all right with it, man. You know what I mean? Dude's gonna be okay. He's gonna get another opportunity. All first rounders do. You know what I mean? So I'm in a good spot. I'm just kind of like my rehab, man. We're just trying to get back. You know what I mean? He's rehabbing, I'm rehabbing. We all trying to get right. But I do gotta say this, man. One of the wildest things in the world is a barber. You know that? And I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
Barbers know too much. All the barbers out there. Every barber in Nashville. Every barber across the United States of America. They know too much. I'm in the barber shop right now. I was trying to get a haircut before coming to see y'all and then hurry up and skate over there to therapy. But my barber's in here talking about Africa, the real estate, the land ownership in Africa, which has nothing to do with what's going on right here in North Nashville with Barbados. I'm just trying to get a haircut.
You got a life lesson. You got a life lesson in logistics of real estate also today, Savage.
Savage of everything. It's amazing, man. Like, these got to be the most well-versed people on earth. Like, it should be a governing body of barbers to solve all of the world's problems because they know all the answers.
Hey, long as it's not the T app that got exposed earlier this week. Is your barber, before we go football and basketball, is your barber also the type that when he's making a point and he turn the clippers off, or does he talk and cut at the same time?
No, they just running. He's just on pause with them in his hand, you know what I mean, making the point. It's amazing, man. I ain't never seen nothing like it. It's the only profession that you can get away with doing that you can work and stop during mid-conversation. So it should take like 30 minutes to get a haircut. I don't care what kind of cut you get.
You ever had someone... you ever had someone cutting your hair that talks with their hands and like that other hand is like it's moving. And like for the most part, the one on your hair is steady, but you're like just, yo, chill. It's like...
Yeah. Yes, man, absolutely. Every single one does it, I'm telling you. And when you hear them cut the clippers off, that means, that's another 4 minutes that you got to wait for the clippers to come back on. Just don't cut them off. Good God. Just let them run, man. Heat them bad boys up.
Oh, man, golly, that's beautiful, man. We're joined by Savage, a.k.a. Ron Slay this morning. Savage, man, real quick, man, before football, we've done a lot of football. The Vols have incorporated a new Jumbotron inside of Thompson Bowling, man. The progress of that, it's a way different than it was when you was playing in the early 2000s, man.
Yeah, man, it's a whole different atmosphere. It's a whole different venue. The only thing that hasn't changed is the outside of it. You know what I'm saying? But once you walk in, it is top notch. One of the best in the country. And I think a lot of people, when you go over there and you watch the games in Neyland and you see all the renovations that are going on around Neyland, inside of Neyland, and then you see what's going on in Lindsey Nelson, it's only right that basketball keep up to par exactly what they're doing and create that same environment. Like they're talking about adding a party deck downstairs that you can have people in during the game, kind of like the party deck in Neyland. So adding the scoreboard is just a piece of what they're going to be doing to renovate it. But it's a whole experience, man, and it should be. That's what's going on now. It's more than just the sale of the sport. You got to have something that's enticing people to come for it to be an event. Like, you turning these games that last 2.5 hours. You turn them into events that you can go out on Saturday and be there for 4.5 hours with the kids having a good time, and there's plenty of things for them to get into. You know what I mean? Safe things. So, man, I commend Danny White and everybody up there with what they're doing. But that Jumbotron, I didn't know the one that they had up was old until they put the new one up. When I saw that new one go up, I'm like, golly, this don't even That other one, man, we was way behind the times. But, man, that's what it's about. You got to have a vision, and they got one.
Speaking of that vision, too, man, I got a couple more, Lucas. I hope you don't mind, man. I feel like we don't utilize
I'm on your turf, man.
His off-season hoops, man. But the vision part of it, and I go to a couple of these players. I've seen on social media folks adding Danny White about the rise in price of the admission to TBA Savage. Yeah. Where are you at on that, man? Is it just, hey, these things have to happen if you want nice stuff, or do you grandfather some folks in, man? Or is it you do one, you do all? What is your viewpoint on what it means to be essentially right now hot with the Vols basketball?
Man, I would love to see people get grandfathered in. I totally get, man. You started paying a price late 80s and then coming into the 90s, and now all of a sudden we get to 2025 and things are getting jacked up on you, and it's a part of where if you look around college basketball and you look around the landscape of college sports in itself, like, that's what happens. It's a price to pay to get better, especially with what you got going on in NIL, what you got going on in renovations, what you got going on in recruiting. Like, all of this kind of goes hand in hand. It's one thing to say we're going to walk into I forgot the name of Butler's gym that they play in, but their gym that they play in Indiana is, it's sacred. Something like Assembly Hall for Indiana. If you walk into that gym,
Hinkle Field
House. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't need to be upgraded because it has historic value. But these other universities, even the ones like Cameron Indoor, like, you can just hold on to a piece of that, but it's only so many people that can fit in there, and people complain about it all the time. So when you're trying to attract people to something else, a new shinier toy, that's what you got to do. And I hate to say it, man, but it's a part of it, man. And maybe they'll come out with like lotteries that you can get in, and hopefully a couple get grandfathered in. But man, it's the cost of doing business, and that's where it is. Who says it's fair? But when the economy is booming, sports is booming on Rocket Top.
No doubt about it. Speaking of the booming part of it, too, man, you got to use some of that money to get some of these guys across the water, man, and that's the international additions that Rick Barnes seems he's always going to have one or two, man. Clarence Masamba and also Ethan Berg, man. What's unique about those guys coming over? I think I heard you speak a little bit about it. Like, they may come over at 19 or 18 or 20, but they've been pros for about 6 years. What's the uniqueness of Rick Barnes always finding those guys?
I think, man, it's opening up that connection. We've been talking about so long the last 10, 15 years about the NBA poaching guys from Europe, but waiting on that time. So now it's just trickled down actually to college and having those connections. You have one guy be successful, like a East Ponds, and that opens up a bridge to have more come over. You have somebody like Santi, who's in the NBA, their like farm program, and that opens up more doors. So you start to have people calling, and they know what they're going to get as far as sending the guy over here. Will he be safe? Will he learn the game? Will he progress at a good pace? And you've been able to see that. So why not? And you look at Berg. Berg's been in that system. Like, they don't really know what he is, you know what I mean? But you've been able to see film on him. You've been able to take the word of guys that you trust, and it's always panned out. So no pun intended, fan. But it's always panned out. So you take another risk on them. It's a high risk, high reward in a sense. You don't lose much. Low risk, high reward. You don't lose much if you take a guy like Berg. You know what I mean? You develop him. He becomes a core piece of your program. And then the Samba the same way. You know, he's young, athletic guy that you're looking to replace at the 3, and have somebody long and rangy that can be out there and kind of fill the void of a Meshack, maybe not this year, but the year after. And you have guys pushing each other. That's the biggest part. So be able to – because the game, that's where it's going to also. A European-style open-floor game, so why wouldn't you have a couple Europeans sprinkled in there if they can get over here and aggressively hit the weight room, be able to get that physicality, even though Babs was saying the other day, basketball. But you're able to get that physicality in it, and you look at what the SEC brings, you need that athleticism, and you need long-range guys over there on the wing that can play a professional open style.
Also, we had Brent Hubs on this morning, Savage. He dropped in his War Room Friday report that the Adidas deal is soon to be done. It's essentially what he put in there, and we asked him about it. The money is exponential, he said, and the idea that Adidas, he brought up something that was very fascinating. He said on the sports side of things, it seems that that Nike is choosing more of the pro route. What does that look like on the NBA side of things as far as the Adidas athletes and what are they bringing? And also, I know what the Adidas cleats look like for football. What is the new projection, I guess, for what Adidas basketball shoes look like, the Adidas uniform, et cetera, because there has to be a level of care. Are they getting Adidas athletes out of high school that are, going to the NBA as Adidas guys? I know James Harden, Anthony Edwards. What is that looking like for college?
Well, you need those guys, those stars, because I honestly, after Derrick Rose with Adidas, I kind of stopped paying attention to it because the guys that were coming up and carrying the flag wasn't just appealing to me. But you get guys like you said, Anthony Edwards. He's an up and coming superstar. It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So him being able to brand it and be a part of that on the basketball side, that is what you're looking for. He's enticing to these younger kids. He's able to pull them in. So that's good on that front. Now, as far as the gear's always been fine. It's always been the shoes that have been in question. They had a good run with Kobe and guys like that. And like I said, all the way up to D. Rose, Tracy McGrady, and all those guys. But
so those are main guys, Dame Lillard, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Trey Young, and Anthony Edwards.
Yep. So you got Spider, you got all these guys that are up and coming. But the thing that made Nike separate from all these guys, Nike always attach their flag, especially in basketball, to champions. So Adidas, you got to be able to get somebody to go out there and get a chip. I think then that'll help the brand tremendously if you can do that, and then you'll see an explosion. Outside of just guys being in dunk contests, great commercials, and things of that nature, you got to be able to associate it with winning, and I think that right there do it. But football-wise, I'm cool with the gear. I'm cool with the gear basketball-wise too, but I would like to see a little bit more cleaner shoe, if you will. Like, sometimes it looks too bulky and it's wide for me. Yeah. But I mean, I'm willing to adjust. If they're gonna throw the bag in there, we need all we can get. the way these people out here promoting Oregon and Ohio State, it's cool. It's cool for Tennessee to be the flag carrier for Adidas again. Like it was popping back in the day. I mean, we were the last ones. I think they said win a championship with Adidas. So in football, so let's run it back.
Was that a factor for either of y'all in your recruitment? Did y'all apparel, what kind of gear team was wearing? Like, what percentage, if any, did it take up for both of you guys?
Man, for me, probably Savage. Well, I don't know about you, but I was coming from Oak Hill Academy where we were a Jordan school.
Yeah.
So I took all of my Jordan gear with me, knowing that I was getting ready to go into Adidas. And it was hard for me to get used to outside of the gear. The gear was great. But the shoes, I needed. It was difficult to find a pair of shoes for a second. But other than that, I was straight with the gear.
For the shoes, for me, I was wearing Nikes. I'll never forget, I got my Pale Grant. I customized some Nike Huaraches. Like, that's what I was doing. The flip-flops were phenomenal. The ones with the beads in the bottom of it, the form-fitting ones. Flip-flops was good. Workout shoes was cool. But, like, lifestyle and just casual, it was Nike, to be quite honest with you. You got to think, the era we grew up in, too, it was the Jordan releases was still very much huge at the time, too. And that's what we rocked even on those away trips and stuff. But as far as working them, you work in them. Did it detract away from me wanting to go to Tennessee? No. I will say only time it became a thing is, to be real with you, Lucas, and when you were playing against guys like Florida, they were some jerks. All right, I just want to throw that out there. You Gators out there, because they be on the field saying stuff. Man, y'all out here in them weak bleeping Adidas, and I'd be like, shut up. I don't about to care about y'all.
What's the version of that now? Like, what's the apparel now that there could be that jawing back and forth on the field? It's like, what are you talking to me for? You're in Under Armour or something.
I'm glad.
That's it.
Is that it?
Yep. And Auburn, when they were doing that Russell stuff.
Yeah. Zach Lyons suggested Hoka earlier.
Yeah, Savage is under. What's that? Savage?
Hoka. Can you imagine?
Hey, you want to sponsor me? I'm here for it. Hey, in my retirement.
Yeah.
But it's
That's
probably
what I say. In our walking stage, we take them.
Savage. It probably. What about Puma for basketball? Does Puma does it get a side eye? They just pay you so much you don't care.
Man, the best thing that Puma had going for them, man, was one of the Ball brothers and then Nipsey Hussle. Once Nipsey passed away, man, I think that took a little bit of the steam out of it. So I haven't heard much more about them. But, Puma would have to they may have to make a hell of a splash. I don't know who they could go get to flip to try to get them over there, man. That's a tough brand to be a part of because I always think flat shoes.
Yeah.
Like flat walking shoes, kind of like the Chuck Taylors in a sense when you think about Puma.
The college football version of it is probably with the Russell jersey. Like looking at South Carolina.
That R.
That R was nasty.
Ron Slay hanging out with us. Titans are still going through warm-ups. Nothing in terms of 7-on-7, team drills, individuals. Slay, we were joking earlier about the Burke stuff, but is there somebody that kind of, that kind of steps into that role for you? That we understand Cam Ward and how important that is this year, but somebody that steps into that role for you that you really want to see succeed this season?
Yeah, me, I want to see James Williams succeed. I think the steps that he's taken and the process that he's not skipping. You know what I mean? You watched him last year, and he was long, rangy type guy. You were asking, it was almost, and see, I'm a little biased to guys that are kind of labeled tweeners. And he was a guy in between that safety and linebacker spot. Will he gain enough weight? Will he be able to read defenses? Will he be able to be that guy right there? And I think you saw the step. It was not a step to me from what he took last year to this year. It was a leap. You watch him now being able to play aggressively, understanding the Denard Wilson system, and being impactful out there on the field. Now, Cody Barton, I think, raises the tide a little bit for everyone and makes everybody go and play their role and understand where they're supposed to be. So if he's learning from that guy and he's soaking up the game the way he's supposed to, man, I think he's going to be an intricate piece of this Titans defense, man, for a time to come. Like you heard Hitman comparing him like to Keith Bullock because of, them to playing the position and translating to linebacker. But that's a guy I would love to see, man, kind of, be a GM that you kind of found and developed into being just a dog defensively because he got all the athletic ability, man. That size, whew, he's a monster, man. So that's one of the guys that I'm cheering for.
The backers are working in front of us right now. He looks the part now. I thought he was a little bit more lean last year. He's added some bulk to him, man. If he shows in these games, that's been our biggest thing, man. Those joint practices, that he can play close to the line of scrimmage. They're gonna be all right for a 7th-round draft pick. Yeah, 100%.
I think that's the biggest thing, Savage and Payne. If you can transfer what you've been seeing from the linebacker core, dog, you're going to be like, because I was telling Coach Mack, like, that was the biggest question walking into the season. We knew what the wide receiver room was. We knew we needed to get some edge guys. Who's going to be healthy at corner? Okay, safety, we should be all right. New quarterback and all of these things. But the biggest question mark for me was, man, what are we going to have right there inside? So if you can answer those two questions right there with those two guys, Barton and Williams, man, you ain't going to be all right, but you're way better off than you were.
Ron Slay got the fresh cut, heading into rehab. What's the timetable? What's the timetable for return?
Oh, man, you know what, man? First of all, I'm rocking and rolling. So I got 11 more weeks. Today makes 5 weeks post-surgery, so I got 11 more weeks but before I'm cleared to do just everything. But right now I'm walking independently. I'm making things happen, man.
Yeah.
What are you willing to do that involves everything? We talking about a charity pickup game?
I'm jumping. No. I'm just doing spot shooting in gyms, maybe some workouts or something like that. But now basketball, running up and down, no, you can forget about that. Pickleball is the only thing I'm going to be going lateral on and moving fast.
There it is. The full retirement is what we're hearing right now.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ron Slay. Good to talk to you. Talk to you soon, man.
I'll see you tonight.
Oh, you absolutely see me tonight. We're at Bourbon State. What we doing?
Yeah, we are. I can't wait to catch an Uber, have a smoked old fashioned with my dog.
Absolutely. We were long overdue.
You be scooting into those classy places? Like, what's the setup for you? You got to call ahead?
Well, we got a side door entrance, man. We drop it.
Oh, going through the kitchen. Yeah.
We get on in there.
Kitchen. All right, Slay.
All right, Savage.
Yeah.
Ron Slay with us on 104.5 The Zone. 2 Titans players are not on the field today at practice. We'll tell you who they are and wrap things up from Titans practice coming up next. First day of August, and it feels like mid-October, man.
Yeah, it does.
It doesn't get better than this.
This was the payoff. On a Friday, too, I don't think there's any rain in the forecast, Lucas. We lived right, man. We survived to get to this point.
Finishing up the show on the SeatGeek Terrace at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Been fun hanging out with you guys in the mornings. You know, I thought morning radio, I thought I'd be a zombie, but I was kind of surprised.
Going.
Well, because I think it's the sense of urgency, Moan. Like, when that alarm clock goes off, you can't be hitting snooze.
No.
Like, you got to, if I hit snooze once on that thing, I'm going to be late. So getting out of bed and going, I don't know. I thought I'd a little bit better than I thought I'd handle it, I think.
What was the crash like yesterday evening then? Did you have one? It was just like a normal day for you.
It was a normal day.
That's kind of how it is. It's the thought of you can't sleep in, I think, that gets people in the morning.
Yeah.
Or if you want to lounge, like you just said, you're not afforded the luxury of just lounging. That's the biggest adjustment right there. But to get up and you're 20 what?
9.
You're 29. You're 29. You're about at the age where you're just up and going. You know what I'm saying? Like morning, like what I learned in growing older is it's better to get up early, get your day started. That way you can get as much done as you possibly can. Like when we're younger in college, the lay around effect is real because you got time to lay around. You can make up for stuff because you'll have enough energy to get that type of stuff done later. Maybe that's just my thought. I'm not sure about yours, but like the idea of getting up and getting started and also beating the fools. You get up early, you beat the idiots, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the other part of it.
The drive-in might have been the best part. Sunrise, too?
No.
It could be worse.
That's what I'm saying.
Could be worse.
Absolutely.
No, appreciate y'all having me. And just, this is where it gets easy, man. This is where we have practice to react to, where we have even preseason games, which is a level up from what we've been doing all summer. And then football season. It's August. That means it is right around the corner. The Titans are without 2 players today at practice. Tavondre Sweat and Calvin Ridley are missing today due to rest, according to Brian Callahan. He kind of dropped that in there right at the end of his press conference earlier. It seems like offense and defense are starting to get together, maybe to formulate some team drills. So no Calvin Ridley out there. In terms of the first team reps, what could that open up for this young receiver group?
Man, Alec Ayumanor got to step up on a day like today, man. You see those young wide receivers, Mason Kinsey, another one of those, Zeitler and Jeff. That was good right there. My bad, we're doing 101s right now, too.
Yeah, no, not team drills.
Not team drills. O-line versus D-line, that was a better rep right there. Good rep. Sebastian Joseph Day, man, going to make a push. My bad. But the opportunity for the young guys, though, Lucas, on a day like today. Rookies got to work on today like today, especially Ayumanor and Chimere Dike. Oh, come on, Pete. Come on, Pete.
Watching the big boys, Ramon Foster. I'm watching Cam Ward.
James Lynch got him right there. Again, Peter has been doing this stuff with the jumping, and somebody finally took advantage of the quick arm over.
Talking about that kind of that early movement, trying to get any edge before the snap.
Good job by Dan right there, I thought. You seen anything on the passing side of things, Lucas?
Routes on air right now. Cam Ward, Brandon Allen, Tim Boyle getting down some reps with these receivers before they get into team drills. And you mentioned the opportunities for the rookie. We'll see how much DK plays with the first team today. Ayumanor has gotten a lot of those reps. How do you see the bottom churn of this wide receiver room? Like, which receiver should be on highest alert, I should say? Which guy that we would typically have penciled in, whether it's a Van Jefferson, a Bryce Oliver, who we understand the advantage he has with his special teams play. Is there any guy that maybe should be looking over his shoulder a little bit?
Man, the only one I can say that's been somewhat a mainstay here is like Mason Kinsey type. I think Xavier Restrepo is one of those guys should be looking over his shoulder too. There's I know he has this social media run and the stuff that he did at Miami, but the idea that he's a guy that's guaranteed to make the team because Cam's his quarterback is far from the truth. I think he's a guy that needs to be looking over his shoulder. Like I said, Mason Kinsey is another one of those dudes. You mentioned Bryce Oliver. I think Bryce Oliver's pathway to making this team is going to be more of what we don't see on special teams as opposed to his play during the game, play during the games and stuff. This isn't Jalen Duncan with another lockout right there. That was beautiful from him. But the part of it for me, Lucas, is going, I don't think there's a weak spot in this group. There's so much of the same, these wide receivers, that I don't think we're really seeing a drop-off from the 1s, 2s, and 3s. I'm not sure how you guys are seeing it, but there's strong competition and depth. Like, we're looking at James Prochet as another one of those guys that whatever can happen could for him as far as making the team. You mentioned just the young guys, Chimere Dike, like those guys in a position to earn a spot on this team too because of the draft picks. Like it is very advantageous for this group.
It's going to be interesting to see how the punt return job factors in. Just with that last spot.
Jaquan.
Yeah, Jaquan. And that is, as we talk about James Williams kind of, emerging early as a favorite to win that linebacker job next to Cody Barton. There's so much camp still to play. There's still every preseason game, joint practices. But in terms of the most wide open spot, there's not even an early leader, I feel like, with the punt return job. We haven't seen them in game action. We haven't seen them in joint practice. And you're talking about Xavier Restrepo competing for that spot, Jaquan Jackson. We'll see if Tyjae Spears actually factors in. I'm sure if the Titans had it their way, Tyjae Spears ain't back there catching punts with the recent injury history and the hope to get back to deploying he and Pollard in a 1A, 1B role in the backfield like they intended last year. But that's a crowded group of players. Chimere Dike, another one, James Prochet. There are guys in that group that I just named, maybe Dike aside, that feels like, especially for a guy like Restrepo, that's the only path to this roster.
It really is. And the thing, too, I was about to talk to my binoculars right there. That is not okay. Multitasking right there. That may have been the first loss by JC right there.
Against who?
That was Jones, I think. Hello, who was that running around?
45?
That was 56. I got my roster right here.
56, that would be Desmond Evans.
Desmond Evans. That's the former 5-star also out of North Carolina, right?
UNC?
Yes. What was we talking about again right there? I lost track by saying JC lose.
Those guys like Prochet, like Restrepo, where their only path to the roster is likely to win the punt return job.
It is. And the thing, too, that you got to fight for a guy like Restrepo, his ability to get vertical on punt returns got to be crucial because his lack of speed that he's dealing with, too. The other side of it for a guy like Jaquan, too, is he's in a position where he can't have a case of the fumbles. And when his opportunity come offensively in practice, he needs to make those down the middle deep passes like it was 2 days ago that he dropped, Lucas. That's unacceptable for a guy in his position, man. So it's fascinating.
Quick breaking news before we wrap up here. Diana Rossini has tweeted, the Micah Parsons-Cowboys relationship has deteriorated to the point where the star pass rusher is considering drastic measures, which could include a trade request or even a declaration that he is severing his relationship with the team. Per multiple league sources familiar with the situation, the two sides remain far apart heading into the second week of training camp, and they are not even currently negotiating. Adam Schefter had reporting to that effect just in terms of how far apart they are. So here we are in August, and two of the best pass rushers in the NFL don't seem anywhere close to getting a deal done. In Hendrickson with Cincinnati and Parsons with Dallas.
It's a better way to run your business. Like, either you set these deals up to where these guys are going to want that if they hit their escalators into being the player that you're paying them to be. It's a good thing called good business. Like, incentivize it however you need to, man. Be in a position where you know it's team friendly, but also give the players what they want to. That's filthy. That's nasty, especially two teams who are in the window of competing. We're talking about Dak, who's the highest paid average per quarterback right now, $60 million a year, not getting what he wants from his defensive side of the ball. And you got Trey Hendrickson in the same situation with a franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow that's trying to figure out how they're going to stop a nosebleed on Sundays.
Cam Ward with a little sidearm action out to the right flat. I can't tell who that was caught by. His far third field action happening as the Titans are in team drills, but they are underway on practice with this Friday. But we're calling it quits and heading into the weekend, the final weekend, with no Titans football and no college football for the rest of 2025. And that's a good thing. Ramon, appreciate you having me, man.
Absolutely, man. Y'all know how it goes on Fridays, man. Call somebody you ain't talked to in a while. Have a random conversation with each other. We're more alike than we make each other's out not to be, man. Everybody love everybody, but make it back to us on Monday. But never forget, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.